Prove you can get strong without relying on yourself. You ignored many combat classes and chose the most basic summoner class, hoping to summon a peak-tier beast and cruise through life. But who knew that your first summon would be a trash-tier little black dog? Even your homeroom teacher, who had high hopes, Lu Wen, is now cursing you for wasting his training. Since a summoner relies entirely on their summons, you're now basically a useless person. However, you have no intention of giving up. After all, as long as you get into an academy and grind, you can perform a second summon after level 10 and still shout that classic line, "Don't look down on this youth." Looking at the cute black dog, your disappointment fades slightly and you pat its little head. The contract notification rings in your mind, loyalty. Never betray. Do you wish to establish a lifelink? Then you resolutely chose yes. Amidst a soul-tearing pain, you screamed and collapsed to the ground. The surrounding classmates thought you couldn't handle the blow and started mocking you one after another. Your school beauty girlfriend, Lu Ruyan, also walked over. With a hint of apology, she said, "The college entrance exam is just too important for an ordinary person like me. Liu Liang, who is a lancer, has already agreed to party with me, so I won't be joining you. Is that okay?" Hearing such a simple response, the explanation she prepared was cut short. A feeling of being ignored welled up in her heart. Followed by a cold snort, she turned around and left without mercy. He must be forcing himself to act like he doesn't care. Ruyan, you didn't do anything wrong. Why be so humble? How can his combat power ever match a school beauty like you? Yet you ignore them both. Because once the lifelink was completed, you actually discovered the puppy had awakened. The SS rank talent, gluttonous devour. It can take everything swallowed and turn it into energy, growing and evolving while ignoring all limits. It seems the suffering wasn't for nothing. After all, SS rank talents are too rare. Every single one is highly valued. Even the state provides them with guardians. But thinking carefully, something feels off. You handle its eating and bathroom breaks. And in the end, it's the one getting stronger. Who is the real beneficiary here? It seems you can't escape being a manual laborer. Then you gave him a resounding name, He Ming. After tossing him the last piece of meat in your hand, you noticed the little black dog's attributes were slowly increasing. In a moment, all basic stats rose by 1 point. This discovery shocked you inwardly. If it ate high-energy food, wouldn't it just skyrocket? Immediately after, a warm current surged through your body, and your strength also increased a little bit. It turns out a portion of the energy the summon gains is actually fed back to the summoner. It seems as long as you feed it enough, the summoner and the summon can become OP together. After returning home, Mom asked what class you got during today's awakening ceremony. You answered summoner while eating. The next second, your sister Chen Li let out a gasp. "It's a combat class. Bro, you're amazing. Quick, show me your summon." Seeing Chen Li's eyes sparkle, you didn't want to ruin the mood, then pointed at Hai Ming behind you. Her excitement came to a screeching halt. How can it be so small? After she picked up Hai Ming and played with him for a bit, Hai Ming lowered his head, aggrieved, and let out a whimper. After dinner, as you were clearing the dishes, Mom suddenly walked over and pulled out a card from her pocket. "I heard from the neighbors that the exam cutoff was raised again this year. There's 35,000 bucks in this card. Go buy some supplies for the exam. If it's not enough, I'll go borrow some more." You knew this card held all of the family's savings. Mom was giving you everything she had, terrified that you'd be devastated after failing the exam. However, you really did need this money as your starting capital. So you didn't stand on ceremony and took the card. "Thanks, Mom. This is enough. You had to buff yourself before the exam started. Otherwise, you wouldn't get into any college. Plus, you remembered the top 10 scorers get a cash prize. If you win it, Mom won't have to work this hard anymore." Then, you took the card to a restaurant run by life-class professionals and bought over 100 pounds of mutated beast meat. You fed it all to Hai Ming. It was like he had no bottom to his stomach. He started tearing into the meat like a beast. At the same time, his attributes slowly increased. After the feedback, your strength started growing too. In no time, Hai Ming's evolution bar was actually full. You immediately chose to evolve him. After evolution, his stats appeared before your eyes. He didn't just awaken 2 skills. His core stats reached over 50, and his appearance changed slightly. It seems special beast meat really does the trick. Moreover, your core stats all increased by 10 points. Now, as a duo, you guys totally have a top-tier mission. After a night's rest, early the next morning, you rushed to the exam hall. After verifying your info, you arrived at the designated area for number 2 high school. This exam gathered students from several top-tier high schools. The competition was basically maxed out. Yesterday's arrogant Liu Liang, who boasted about carrying Liu Ruyan into the top 100, was now sweating bullets because his dad pulled some strings and found out that this year's seniors are built different. Chen Fan, why even show up? Just be like the other life class students and forfeit. It'll save you from losing face in front of old classmates. After all, if you don't compete, you can lie to yourself that you never lost. Hearing this, many surrounding students were amused. You glanced at him and ignored him. As a bell chimed, 4 bronze gates opened simultaneously. From the cracks of the gates, a chilling aura instantly gushed out. None of the students hesitated. Immediately examine the details of the dungeon you are entering. Why was our school assigned to the burial forest? It's one of the hardest dungeons with the highest failure rate. It's over. All dungeons have similar difficulty levels, so stop whining. Do you think the college entrance exam could be unfair? Recall the monster knowledge and habits I taught you before, and how to combine your attack styles with the environment. Hurry up and remember everything! After that, the scoring devices for the exam were handed out. As the bell chimed, the exam officially began. A girl in white armor with ice blue hair was the first to enter the dungeon. Senior Su Lin Shui from high school number 3 actually chose to enter solo. She's a long-range mage. Won't she be in trouble without a front line? She has 5 initial skills. Why are you worried about her? After the elite solo students entered, you used a simple thought and unexpectedly entered the dungeon all by yourself. Once all students were inside, a teacher waved their hand, creating 4 water screens to project real-time footage from inside the dungeons. Suddenly, a white light flashed outside as a student chose to forfeit. It was actually a candidate from our school. All the teachers from number 2 high school looked at each other and lowered their heads in silence. The burial forest differs from other dungeons because it requires extreme caution. Students with weak mental fortitude simply can't hold on. Every homeroom teacher was looking for their own students. But when the principal saw a boy standing alone, his face was instantly filled with doubt. Does number 2 high school really have such a talented student? Wait, isn't that Lu Wen's student? Lu Wen didn't know how to explain. Chen Fan clearly had a trash tier start, so why didn't he party up just to hit the passing score? Lu Wen felt a massive headache. Old Lu, is this how you teach your students? Entering a dungeon solo with that level of strength? If anything happens, I'm holding you responsible. It was indeed old Lu's oversight. Now, he could only hope that Chen Fan wouldn't run into any danger. But whatever you fear most will happen. Through the water screen, a deep green long worm could be clearly seen, crouching right above you, about to launch an attack. Upon entering, you saw a sea of corpses everywhere, and the lighting in the forest was poor. Suddenly, the sound of something dropping rang out. Without any hesitation, you gripped your left hand in the air, and a staff over a meter long instantly appeared, which then directly transformed into a longsword. Then you swung it quickly behind you. A flash of white light instantly pierced the green worm's body. It was incredibly fast and skillful. Successfully killed a poison-tooth worm, gained 5 EXP. Immediately after, the timer showed a score increase of 15. You hadn't forgotten the feeling of holding a blade. In your past life, you drew your sword 1,000,000 times. Though simple, you mastered many power generation techniques. Wait, isn't he a summoner? That reaction speed, you'd need high agility to pull that off, right? But relying on high agility to reach the 500-point cutoff is still unrealistic. Lu Wen couldn't understand how Chen Fan had changed so much in just one day. After killing the worm, you headed toward the heart of the forest. Suddenly, a massive commotion erupted ahead, as if countless things were rushing this way. One after another, small, ugly, green-skinned creatures appeared in your line of sight. Goblins! You instantly recognized the creature from your textbooks. Ferocious by nature, they breed like crazy and will even resort to cannibalism if there's no food. And there were at least 50 or 60 of them. If they swarmed you, you'd definitely be dead meat. You immediately called for Hai Ming. With a long, loud wolf howl, Hai Ming's cold pupils locked onto the rushing goblins. Sensing their malice, he shot forward like an arrow. The goblins in the front row were instantly struck until their skulls shattered. The second row was also sent flying in total chaos. The goblins quickly drew their weapons to counterattack, but they didn't expect that the weapons which usually worked would actually be useless this time. Because as soon as they hit Hai Ming's back, They would let out a crack and snap instantly. Hai Ming's claws also rapidly swiped at their heads, while you stayed on the side waiting for an opening to mess them up. As goblins fell one by one, even these low IQ monsters felt instinctive terror and began to flee in all directions. You ordered Hai Ming to keep up the pursuit, while you personally charged at the nearest goblin. They were destined to become nothing more than nourishment for Hai Ming. The spectator stands outside. Once someone noticed you were surrounded by goblins, it immediately drew a lot of eyes. Everyone basically assumed this senior was about to be eliminated. But to their surprise, one man and one beast actually slaughtered the goblin mob until they scattered in fear. The principal's anger flared up at that moment. How did you guys evaluate this student's strength? You rated this summon's rank as weak? Then you tell me what exactly counts as strong. Luwen's head was buzzing right now. This was completely different. From that palm-sized puppy yesterday? There's only one possibility for this, and that's if the summon's growth talent is incredibly powerful. The principal also got excited all of a sudden. Is high school number 2 finally going to have the genius who can represent us? Check his current score. The female teacher nearby glanced at the scoreboard. His current score is 560. He's already ranked first in our school. Luwen also felt a dizzying sense of unreality. His student had only been in there for less than half an hour and was already number 1 in the school. Meanwhile, you wiped the blood off your sword. Several orbs of light flew out from the goblin corpses and merged into your body. Your level reached level 2, but your spirit attribute only increased by 5 points. This is the drawback of a common class. A rare or legendary class might get 10 points. The gap will only widen further down the line. But remembering you can get buffed through Hai Ming's feedback, you didn't feel so bad. Once Hai Ming finished devouring the goblin corpses scattered on the ground, you immediately called him to do something big. Let's go. The hunt truly begins now. Since goblins are social creatures, if there was a squad here, their nest must be nearby. Unexpectedly, after walking for 10 minutes, you didn't see a single monster. Suddenly, several bone spears were hurled from a distance, and the previously silent forest suddenly began to shake. Goblins lunged out from all directions, howling and brandishing their weapons as they charged. Your longsword instantly manifested. After knocking away the bone spears, you sidestepped and instantly decapitated a goblin. At the same time, you kicked another away, knocking down several more goblins with it. Hai Ming also charged into the goblin army and started tearing them apart. As the pile of corpses grew, over a dozen goblins of different colors appeared in the rear. In the spectator stands outside, the group of teachers watching the water screen also broke into a cold sweat. Flame goblins and frost goblins actually appeared. He won't fail here, will he? But they soon discovered that their anxiety was completely unnecessary. After you noticed their different skin colors, alarm bells rang in your mind. At this moment, all the goblins seemed to find their backbone, no longer attacking haphazardly. As the flame goblins began their incantations, fist-sized fireballs shot toward you, but you dodged them all with a few swift movements. At the same time, you reached out and instantly grabbed a goblin by the neck. Under its terrified gaze, you hurled it into midair to block the incoming fireballs. Have straight up become a goblin launcher, throwing goblins like cannonballs, smashing them into the flame goblins. In the outside world, all the students who saw this scene were dumbfounded. You can even play like that? The homeroom teacher Lu Wen was also stunned. I don't think I ever taught this attack method. Right now, you've smashed the flame goblins until they're dizzy. If they cast spells, they hit their own kind. If they don't, they get killed. After some kiting, Hai Ming had already circled behind to take them out one by one. Out of over 100 goblins, only a lonely few remained. They could only choose to run. But this time, you didn't finish them off, instead following closely behind, preparing to destroy their nest. As the goblins crawled into a cave, you thought for a moment and followed them in. It was pitch black inside, impossible to see clearly. From time to time, your feet would step on the skeletal remains of food. Suddenly, several thin figures lunged at you. You instinctively drew your sword and slashed. The goblins were split in half the moment they hit the ground. Hai Ming also swallowed 2 of them on the side. Suddenly, countless flames appeared at the corner of the passage, and the field of vision grew brighter. After seeing clearly, your face changed drastically, and you immediately retreated. Countless ugly figures covered the rocky walls above, baring their teeth and staring ahead. In the next instant, they swarmed down like a storm of pear blossoms. Quick, use your summon skill. Gigantification. Hai Ming's size instantly increased to the scale of 4 small plots. He charged forward, tanking the goblins. A rain of goblins immediately started falling around Hai Ming, taking advantage of the gap while they were stunned from the fall. Hai Ming began a reckoning in his giant state. You also coordinated with him to start the cleanup. After pushing forward a certain distance, a massive roar suddenly echoed. A hideous beast the size of a small building slowly poked its head out. Seeing that the goblins scavenging for its food were nearly wiped out, its eyes turned blood red as it glared over. You only felt a gust of foul wind blowing toward you. Hurriedly checking the opponent's stats, it's actually the boss troll. Before you could snap out of it, the enemy launched a charge. It felt like the entire cave was trembling. But even facing a more terrifying troll, Hai Ming still charged up without any fear. Without any hesitation, his claws landed first on the troll, but only left 4 shallow, bloody gashes. The troll roared, instantly going berserk and grabbing Hai Ming's head, slamming it violently against the rock wall while its massive body crashed down heavily. Seeing Hai Ming being suppressed, you quickly used your summoner's talent skill, Fortification. Summoners have a total of 3 skills: Summoning, Fortification, and Restoration. You hadn't encountered such a strong enemy before. This time, it's equivalent to going all out. The moment Fortification took effect, Hai Ming directly flipped the troll onto the ground. During the intense struggle, you used Restoration while doing your best to land the finishing blows, finally grinding the troll's HP down to a few hundred. Some nearby students also heard the commotion. The lowest level boss in the burial forest is level 12. Which team could possibly have such insane combat power? At this time, a 3-man squad rushed over after hearing the news, thinking they could help out and snag a piece of the pie. But when they reached the scene, they were all stunned, because the one fighting the boss wasn't a whole team, it was just you. Right then, you landed the final blow with your sword, and the troll's HP dropped from 1 to 0. The sword in your hand was a clear sign of your summoner identity. Not a single student around dared to interfere. Liu Liang and Liu Ruyan were among them, staring wide-eyed at the little black dog in front of them, which had transformed like this in just one day. At this moment, another 4-man group walked over, led by Zhao Huyang from the elite class. I didn't expect our school to have a beast like you. I see your summon is heavily injured. Do you need our help healing? Our team has a holy priest with a huge output. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhao Huyang was kicked by the cute girl behind him. You looked at them and smiled. No need, thanks. They were about to leave after hearing that, but as they turned, they accidentally saw the score tracker in my hand. 5,320 points! Zhao Huyang almost couldn't hold back a curse. Just then, Liu Ruyan walked over with a flushed face. Before she could get close, Hai Ming's blood-red pupils stared her down coldly. Liu Ruyan felt like she'd fallen into an ice cellar, her legs turning weak and giving out. She looked over pitifully. But you didn't even turn your head to give her a glance. You turned around and headed back into the cave, letting Hai Ming continue devouring to strengthen himself. Once all the monster corpses were eaten by Hai Ming, a layer of energy cocoon wrapped around him. It seems this evolution far exceeds the previous one from the beast meat. Just wonder what kind of combat power he'll have when he comes out. After some time, suddenly a pair of sharp claws tore through the light cocoon. Hai Ming stepped out with his size increased again, his pitch-black fur looking brand new, and even his pupils had turned blood red. At the same time, you received a notification. Congratulations, your summon has gained a new skill. Intimidation. Congratulations, gained a new talent, Flame Aura. Seeing such a terrifying boost in stats, you were amazed inwardly and quickly opened the panel. His basic attributes were all over 100. Looks like riding him later will hit a top speed of 280. Suddenly, the exam time was broadcast inside the dungeon. Only 1 hour left, please make your final push. Hearing the prompt, you immediately rode Hai Ming straight to the Twisted Treant King's territory. He's a ceiling-level boss in the burial forest, a T1 rank lord even before the first awakening. The female teacher from the elite class said worriedly, "Isn't this too risky? This boss is twice as strong as the troll in every way." The principal also frowned at this moment. The black dog that just appeared has surged in size. Its strength should have also increased significantly. Although killing the Twisted Treant King is a stretch, the fact that Chen Fan dared to go means he has some confidence. The homeroom teacher looked at Su Lin Shui's terrifying score from high school number 1 and couldn't help but sigh. There's still not much hope for Chen Fan to overtake her. A gap of over 7,000 points is just too far. And with one of her skills, Monsters fall in droves. After sighing, the homeroom teacher turned his attention back to the water screen. At this moment, you just stepped into the trance territory. One by one, the massive trees actually woke up. They opened their crimson eyes and lashed out with their branches, stabbing toward your vital spots. You quickly drew your sword and swung 5 times in rapid succession. The trunks were instantly sliced off and lost their vitality. The treant's screams echoed from nearby. You locked onto a treant, raised your sword, and charged, plunging the blade directly into its mouth and then shoving the entire length of the sword in with brute force. But to your surprise, the treant only widened its eyes as if in shock without dying instantly. This totally flipped your understanding. Elite monster's vitality is actually this insane. Meanwhile, your hands didn't stop and you started twisting the hilt, viciously churning it inside the treant's body while green sap sprayed from its mouth. Under its terrified gaze, the blade tore down and split it in two. Finally, the several-meter-tall treant collapsed and died. Seeing their kind die a brutal death, the surrounding treants roared and charged, preparing to surround you, the unknown intruder. At the same time, the roars awakened the dormant treants. In the distance, more thick-bodied fellows rushed over. Knowing your own limits, you quickly ordered He Ming to release his flames. As purple flames erupted from He Ming's body, he charged rapidly toward the incoming treant mob. The moment he touched the cluster of treants, a terrifying scene occurred. The purple flames instantly ignited the leaves on the treants' bodies. The trunks were also covered in flames, which continued to spread. No matter how much they struggled, the fire wouldn't go out. It only grew larger. You were inwardly shocked by this. You didn't expect He Ming's flame attribute to be a mutation. It's practically the natural enemy of treants. Furthermore, he was personally tearing into the treants like a beast. The enemies were too busy dealing with the flames on their bodies to fight back. In a short while, all the treants within a 100-meter radius were ignited by the fire, transforming directly into EXP and merging into your body. You actually leveled up right on the spot. He Ming's attributes also increased again because of you. Once the purple flames finished burning, the energy from the treants turned into small snakes and returned to He Ming's body. It turns out that during the burning process, the flames continuously refine the target into energy to strengthen itself. It seems He Ming won't need to eat monster corpses anymore and can ditch this tedious step. After the surrounding treants were wiped out, you checked your score, 7,120 points. Still a bit away from securing that scholarship. Suddenly, the ground vibrated slightly. A massive creature was rapidly approaching from the distance. Your eyelid twitched. You quickly retreated 2 steps. Several thick branches erupted from the ground, trying to strangle you, while an enraged roar echoed from the distant shadows. Hundreds of treants revealed themselves, staring dead at you. And behind them was a towering tree. The boss, Twisted Treant King, had arrived. You quickly called He Ming to get to work, while activating the gigantification skill. Instantly, He Ming's size surged massively. At the same time, he spat out a blast of flame. Tornado, which flew straight toward the massive treant boss opposite you. Everywhere the tornado passed, treants let out agonizing howls. You timed it perfectly to enter the fray and start harvesting. The Twisted Treant King naturally knew He Ming was dangerous. Countless branches burst from the ground, trying to bind He Ming, but he broke free in just a few seconds. After all, his attributes were fully buffed after gigantification. The moment he broke free, he lunged at the treant boss while activating intimidation. The Twisted Treant King's face showed a very human-like shock. It didn't expect a summon to have such strength. Before it could figure it out, He Ming had already charged in front of the treant boss. The golden branches were instantly ignited by the purple flames. It hurriedly pulled back its branches to extinguish the fire. Seizing the chance, He Ming slashed at the treant with his sharp claws, completely ignoring the attacks of the common treants and opting for a trading blows playstyle. Now, the Twisted Treant King's eyes were filled with horror. It felt its life being slowly gnawed away and quickly released a skill, covering its branches and trunk with pale golden patterns. At the same time, the branches became incredibly sharp and stabbed rapidly toward He Ming. He Ming's flesh was torn open, but this only further triggered his ferocity. With a roar, he severed over a dozen branches with one claw, while the black flames began to burn. Under the fierce mutual assault, Wounds began to appear on both sides slowly, but Haiming's relentless do-or-die attitude genuinely started to make the Treant King feel afraid. The pitch-black flames continued to gnaw away at its body, and its golden branches were becoming fewer and fewer. Then the Treant King let out a roar that pierced the heavens, spreading for thousands of meters. Suddenly, all the trees jumped out of the soil. This gave you a shock. You finally finished clearing one area and what? Even more arrived. It's simply never-ending. However, Haiming was exceptionally excited at this moment. Countless purple flames returned to his body from all around. Instantly, his attributes shot up, and his offense became even more tyrannical. You quickly used fortification and restoration to play support from the sidelines. Haiming's status was buffed once again. In a moment, he beat the Treant King until it was howling in pain. The Treant King then commanded all nearby Treants to launch a suicidal attack. Even though they knew it meant death, they just wanted to stall for time. Haiming's purple flames erupted again, directly igniting all the Treants that were swarming him. The flames reached the sky. This allowed other teams in the Treant territory to see the light. Zhao Huiyang and his team were not far away. I was wondering where the Treants went. Someone is actually challenging the Treant boss. It couldn't be Chen Fan fighting the twisted Treant King, right? The other team members heard this and instantly sucked in a breath of cold air. Though hard to believe, no one else has this kind of power besides him. Then Zhao Huiyang checked the team's score tracker. It showed a total of 1,700 bytes. The number of Treants is too high. He definitely won't be able to hold them off. The priest nearby, Gu Fei, heard this, and his eyes widened. You're not saying you want to help him, are you? The other two also shook their heads quickly. That won't do. If he's already finished by the time we get there, won't we all be eliminated together? But Zhao Huiyang analyzed it calmly. Chen Fan's summon can solo a troll, so holding off the twisted Treant King for a while shouldn't be a problem. If we kill a few Treants, our score will hit 2,000. Even if we forfeit the dungeon, we can still get into a top academy. The others went silent for a moment and then reluctantly agreed. Then the group began to charge at full speed toward the source of the flames. When Zhao Huiyang's group reached the Treant King's territory, they saw the massive king covered in purple fire, desperately running for its life. Behind it was a giant dog wreathed in purple flames, constantly tearing into it. Zhao Huiyang and the others were dumbfounded. Only then did you notice the group. What are you guys doing here? Zhao Huiyang gave a bitter smile upon hearing that. We thought you were in danger, so we came to help. Turns out we worried for nothing. Seeing his sincere expression and the score on their tracker, your heart warmed. Though you weren't close to him, they risked their chance at a top academy to come here. Gu Fei, standing aside, feared you'd overthink it, and quickly explained, Huiyang's grandfather is the former principal of No. 2 High School. Though retired, he still cares for the school. Seeing the school about to drop to a second-tier academy, Huiyang felt only you could carry this banner, so we came non-stop. Hearing this, you were somewhat moved. You then generously let them clear the nearby low HP Treants. Haiming will coordinate with you. Zhao Huiyang was a bit embarrassed at first. After all, they came to help but ended up leeching EXP instead. But when he saw the score on your wrist, he could no longer stay calm. 15,000 points? What kind of cheat is this? The previous 5,000 was already crazy enough. It actually tripled in just 1 hour. Immediately, he began leading his team to clear the mobs, and seeing the Treant King getting weaker, you also started the final push. When the Treant King's massive body fell to the ground, a massive amount of EXP merged into you. Your level reached level 8, and the score rose by another 3,000. Seeing hundreds of Treants still around, you weren't about to let these EXP babies go. When the Treants saw their boss was gone, they scrambled to escape, but they were slow. Haiming just had to run past to set them on fire. He doesn't even need to lift a finger. Zhao Huiyang and his group of 4 chased after the fleeing Treants. Surprisingly, the monsters were so scared they didn't even dare to fight back. There's still some time before the exam ends. Are you going to keep hunting? Hearing this, you shook your head. 20,500 points is more than enough. You've definitely secured the top spot in No. 2 High School. This exam run was a total jackpot. As the final countdown ended, Countless students returned to the wide plaza. Immediately, teachers and students from all over cheered to welcome the candidates. At the same time, all the school leaders stood up in excitement. He actually managed to take the first place. The principal immediately rushed over with the teachers. Seeing the bloodstains on you, he barked at the healer standing nearby. "Can't you see he's injured? Start the treatment now." Hearing this, Gufei hurriedly began casting her spells on the side. The principal also rushed to your side. "Chenfan, do you feel any other discomfort?" You shook your head. "No other discomfort. Thanks for the concern, Principal." The principal nodded in satisfaction upon hearing your reply. Then he looked at Hai Ming nearby, only to see he was covered in shocking wounds, with his fur dyed red. Gufei acted like a heal bot on the side, desperately healing Hai Ming. Liu Ruyan stood in the distance with a grim face. She had been eliminated in just 1 hour. Her score wasn't even enough to get into a high-tier academy. It's all Chen Fan's fault. That little black dog clearly had such a powerful talent, but he didn't tell her. Thinking of this, her gaze instantly became full of resentment. Her partner, Liu Liang, was even worse. He slipped away the second he was kicked out of the dungeon. He didn't have the face to stay in the exam hall at all. Suddenly, the principal nervously picked up his phone, and the surrounding teachers crowded around him. After a short while, all the teachers turned their gaze toward you. Their expressions were incredibly complex. You were a bit puzzled. A score of over 20,000 in the winter session. Shouldn't be too bad even for the whole province. Why the long faces? Suddenly, all the leaders started cheering, and the scene became quite chaotic. Seeing them all start dancing with joy, you couldn't quite react. The principal looked at you with a face full of excitement. "You single-handedly suppressed all the geniuses in the province. You actually did it. Next year, our school's ranking will reach the front line, and you are the hero of all this, our provincial top scorer." You were stunned by the news. From the very beginning when the little black dog first appeared, to taking the card to buy meat, and then the heart-pounding slaughter inside the dungeon, you actually made it to the level of provincial top scorer. One has to admit Hai Ming is indeed terrifying. Not only is there no level cap, but his combat power can skyrocket in a short time. You only achieved this because of him. Thinking of this, you couldn't help but look forward to your next summon. As the news spread rapidly, everyone found out the provincial top scorer was named Chen Fan. Instantly, intense cheering erupted from the stands of No. 2 High School. "I told you he was so badass, he definitely had what it takes to fight for the top scorer title. I've decided to awaken as a summoner next year too. This summoner class is just too cool. Senior Chen, do you still need a girlfriend?" Suddenly, many fangirls looked over with slightly blushing faces. The corners of your mouth couldn't help but curve upward. Meanwhile, the high school No. 3 area was a bit quiet. The teachers around Su Linshui were all trying to comfort her, but she didn't seem to care about the ranking at all. Instead, she looked over with a hint of curiosity. "Is this the summoner who managed to suppress me?" After returning home, your sister Chen Li rushed over, asking urgently, "Bro, are you really the provincial top scorer for this winter?" You were surprised at how she knew. Was that one man and one beast who crushed the whole province really you? You patted your sister's little head and nodded. "Yeah, I accidentally took the top spot." Receiving 2 affirmative answers, your sister's breathing became shallow as she jumped around in excitement. "Bro, where's your summon? Show me. Everyone says your summon is super handsome and OP. You said somewhat helplessly, "The house is too small. I'll let him out for you to see in a bit." At this time, Mom also walked over with a face full of joy. While her nose turned slightly red with emotion, you looked at Mom and said, "You don't have to work 2 jobs anymore. From now on, we're going to live a comfortable life." Mom nodded heavily and called everyone to eat. Tonight's meal was unlike anything before. Many dishes they previously couldn't afford were now served on the table. Suddenly, your phone received a notification. Seeing that the funds had hit your bank account, you felt a surge of excitement in your heart. Before leaving, you had casually mentioned it to the principal, and surprisingly, he said the prize money would be arranged today. Although a mere principal can't boss around the finance department, no one would dare object to a provincial top scorer's request. You knew you were completely different now. Since Hai Ming can hunt on his own, it's better to leave the 1 million prize money at home. The family won't have to pinch pennies to get by anymore. This is the real meaning of becoming strong. After dinner, your sister was playing with Hai Ming outside, while you were puzzled by an unsolved mystery. Could Hai Ming's SSS rank talent be gifted by a system? But you called out many times, and there was absolutely no response. Excluding that possibility, there was only one conclusion. Your own talent is so terrifying that it exceeds SSS rank, and as a result, it simply cannot be detected. Thinking about being the provincial top scorer, recruitment teachers from top academies will definitely visit in person. So for now, you don't need to worry about which school to pick. The priority is the first awakening. After all, you just hit level 10, so you immediately opened your panel and clicked on First Awakening in the level cap column. The first awakening requires passing a matched random dungeon. The promotion is only successful after clearing the mission. The stronger you are, the higher the difficulty of the matched dungeon. However, if you perform exceptionally well, your class potential can be upgraded. If the dungeon clear rating reaches the maximum, it could even promote your class by an entire tier. This is one of the few chances to bridge the gap between classes, but those who pull it off are rare. A moment later, the system finished matching. You were teleported into the First Awakening dungeon. After reading the detailed introduction, you realized the dungeon has 10 participants in total, and the time limit is 24 hours. You cannot manually return to Blue Star. Currently, there are two choices. Either protect the survivors and eliminate the calamity beasts, or help the mother beast devour everything. Looking at the task, you began to contemplate. Which one should you choose? Seeing the prompt, you resolutely chose to eliminate the calamity beasts and protect the survivors. Although helping the mother beast would be the easiest path, Hai Ming needs to devour things to grow. If the mother beast devours everything, what will Hai Ming have left? Just as you finished choosing the mission, a sudden noise came from nearby, and a petite young girl was sent crashing toward you. At the same time, a calamity beast lunged at her, just as the girl thought she was about to lose her life. A flash of sword light swept past, and the monster in midair was split in two. The girl looked at you with a stunned expression. Seeing her silent, you proactively reached out to shake hands. "Hello, I'm Chen Tiansheng. Those little horns on your head are quite unique." The girl also introduced herself. "I'm Lu Yu, thank you for saving me." Just as you were about to ask for more info about this world, a voice suddenly echoed from the distance. "The situation has changed. Everyone, retreat immediately." Hearing this, the girl's whole body tensed up. She picked up her long blade and tried to pull you away. "Let's go!" But before she could finish, a car actually came crashing toward you. You quickly protected Lu Yu behind you, using your sword to block the car's impact, pushing back over 10 meters before completely stopping. Lu Yu ran over with a panicked face. "Are you okay?" You calmed your surging blood and shook your head. Then you looked ahead at that bizarre freak. His limbs were all long blades. Lu Yu's gaze turned heavy. "That's a blade demon. We can't get away now." In the next instant, the blade demon rushed at you. You immediately raised your sword to meet him. The clash of blades made a crisp sound. While the blade demon roared, his other arm slashed toward your head. You dodged back and shouted to Lu Yu, "Give me your blade!" Hearing this, she immediately tossed the long blade over. You simply dual-wielded blade and sword and charged at the monster. The opponent also swung his twin blades to strike back. After clashing for a dozen rounds, you actually felt the two weapons were exceptionally well coordinated. Lu Yu covered her mouth in shock. How can he be this strong, being able to go head-to-head with a blade demon without losing ground? This is something even my sister can't do. At last, you finally found the blade demon's weakness. The sharp blade instantly severed one of its arms. Then a single strike decapitated it. Afterward, you walked toward Lu Yu and began asking about the specifics of this world. It turns out this world was invaded by Malice Chi not long ago. Both humans and animals began to mutate, eventually becoming mindless, violent creatures. Although the Malice Chi has thinned out significantly now, it has caused eerie changes. Even blades and the earth itself undergo calamities. Having understood the situation here, you casually asked, "So the horns on your head are also caused by the calamity?" Lu Yu nodded. "If you don't lose your sanity in the Malice Chi, your willpower can help you resist the mutation, and your strength will also slowly increase." Just as she finished speaking, a dozen people appeared at the corner nearby. Their faces were panicked as they looked around. The tall woman leading them saw Lu Yu and hurriedly shouted, "Run!" The moment she spoke, the ground began to vibrate. Countless calamity beasts appeared, covering the ground and buildings, gradually forming an encirclement as they chased after them. Everyone fell into despair. Only the tall woman gritted her teeth, preparing to lead everyone to break out. "Lu Yu, stay close to me." Then she looked at you with an apologetic gaze. "I'm her sister, Lulu. Sorry for dragging you into this." You didn't care in the slightest. Instead, you walked straight toward the calamity beasts, wanting to see exactly how many there were. Seeing this, Lulu hurriedly shouted, "Don't be so impulsive. One person can't possibly hold out against this many." Hearing that, you turned back and smiled. Who said I'm alone? Besides, I've already surrounded them. Then you used your summoning skill. Space distorted, and Hai Ming appeared at over 7 meters tall, letting out a howl that pierced the heavens. Knowing the danger of the calamity beasts, you activated Hai Ming's gigantification. Then you commanded him to charge into the swarm. Purple flames spread rapidly in all directions. Most calamity beasts couldn't even last 5 seconds. Before turning into nutrients to be absorbed by Hai Ming, everyone's expression turned blank. Lulu sighed in amazement while shouting, "Since he's lured the beasts away, we need to take this chance to break through." The group then quickly fled to a commercial building, preparing to leave through the back door. At that moment, a bolt of lightning struck down from the sky without warning. A blonde youth holding a book stepped out. "In my territory, no one passes." As he finished, the book emitted a purple glow, and streaks of purple lightning suddenly appeared. A sense of crisis made your hair stand on end. You swung violently toward the empty space. Behind you, followed by the crisp sound of metal clashing, a blue-haired woman with a dagger slowly appeared. "Such high spirit that you actually noticed me in the middle of a fight." You didn't waste words. Your blade instantly slashed across her slender waist. A direct hit. Strangely, she didn't bleed. Instead, she vanished like a phantom. Reappearing 10 meters away a few seconds later, she looked back in horror and shouted, "Why haven't you moved yet? Do you expect me, an assassin, to tank him?" The moment she finished speaking, a figure like a blazing flame crashed through the air, holding a long blade high to clash with you. After trading blows for several rounds, the man in the flames wiped away some sweat. "A summoner actually has this much strength and speed? Are you really just a summoner?" You didn't answer his question, instead scanning the surroundings with a cold sneer. "All of you, come out! No need to hide like rats!" 4 more figures emerged from the void. They had all chosen Mission 2. They were in the opposite faction, helping the Mother Beast, although federal regulations state that killing each other in awakening dungeons is forbidden, and anyone caught would be immediately wanted. Dungeons with faction splits are the exception. The man in the flames said with a touch of mockery, "I didn't think anyone would actually be dumb enough to pick Mission 1. Did your big shot teachers not teach you how to increase your survival chances in an awakening dungeon? Stop talking nonsense. Our current knowledge is all in the textbooks. He's probably just a dropout who slipped through the cracks. But today's duel proves you're extraordinary. Just run. You should know how to choose between finishing the mission and losing your life." A burly Chinese man offered his advice. Hearing this, the blue-haired female assassin nearby disagreed. "The more we let the Mother Beast eat, the higher our rating. He didn't hold back on us just now, so let's turn him into nutrients for the Mother Beast instead." You narrowed your eyes at the group. Have you guys ever heard the saying, "High-end hunters often appear as prey"? Stop acting tough. The others laughed as if they'd heard a joke. 1 against 6? Do you even have a chance at winning? You wiped the blood off your long blade and said calmly, "How do you know that no one else chose Mission 1 besides me? Besides, didn't I draw you guys out so boldly because I'm confident I can deal with you? I've noted all your faces. How about I invite you all to die next?" As soon as the words left your mouth, a violent roar echoed in all directions. The surrounding flames and energy returned to Hai Ming's body like flood dragons. Instantly, his size surged by 8 meters. The malice chi around you thinned by half. As Hai Ming charged, he used intimidation. The group felt a chill rush to their heads, and their limbs began to shake uncontrollably. When the black claws swiped down, they finally managed to suppress their brain's fear response and scattered to dodge. The unlucky brat who was last to escape was slapped straight into the ground by a single claw. Black flames enveloped his entire body. Before he could even scream, he turned into flying ash. Seeing this scene, cold sweat broke out on the remaining 5. They originally thought that although the summon was strong, 3 of them would be enough to stall it. Once the summoner was dealt with, the summon would naturally disappear. But they didn't expect the summoner's own strength and speed to be just as cracked. The blonde youth immediately chanted a spell. Thick lightning chains manifested to bind Hai Ming. "Hurry and kill him! I can only hold him for 10 seconds!" Before he could finish, Hai Ming directly shattered the lightning chain's restraint. At the same time, you cast fortification. Hai Ming's power surged once again. Seeing this situation, the 5 didn't dare hold back any longer, and began to reveal their trump cards one by one. The blue-haired assassin turned into several shadows, stabbing rapidly toward your face. But suddenly, countless ice spikes rained down from above, forcing her to retreat and dodge continuously. "Who's hiding? Come out!" A girl with long ice-blue hair slowly walked out. A layer of frost spread across the ground, and the calamity beasts behind her were actually turned into ice sculptures. The burly man tried to stop her, but suddenly an angry roar came from the other side. "Look at me, you brats!" As the taunt skill was activated, all three of them were forced to turn around and attack him instantly. Just as he was about to reach his limit, Ming appeared behind the trio, exactly as the fatty's taunt skill expired. The three who had just regained their senses were instantly drenched in sweat. In the next second, one was torn through by sharp claws and split directly in half. The other two were also rooted by the intimidation skill. A few seconds later, they ended up in Ming's massive maw. Afterward, Ming turned and lunged at the assassin fighting you. The opponent noticed the situation and her expression changed drastically. Her figure vanished instantly and reappeared dozens of meters away. Realizing the defeat was certain, she fled without looking back. However, Ming was relentless in his pursuit. Purple flames attached to her like a homing beacon. On the other side, an icy current erupted outward, turning buildings and life into ice sculptures wherever it passed. The burly man was also directly frozen solid. Of the 6 prey, only one remained. The blonde youth from the UK turned pale, not expecting that with such an advantage, a 6-on-3 fight would result in them being utterly crushed. He then released a large wave of lightning to cover his escape. Killing intent flashed in your eyes. Too late to run now. After dodging the lightning with a swift movement, a single swing of your blade sent him to his grave. At this point, you glanced back. Lu Yu and the dozen others were all lying on the ground, heavily injured. Luckily, no one had died. You then asked her for the location of the Calamity Mother Beast. The Mother Beast stood out from the countless Calamity Beasts. Only by erasing it can the rating reach the maximum. It could also be considered doing your part to save this world. No one has been able to kill the Calamity Mother Beast yet. You don't need to risk your life. You touched her little horn. Don't worry, Ming will protect me. At this moment, Su Lin Shui and the tall, fat guy walked over. His first words upon seeing you were, "Bro, your summon is too OP. You wouldn't happen to be that provincial top scorer, would you? And is this the province's second rank, Su Lin Shui?" It turned out that students from high school number 3 said Su Lin Shui was beautiful and kind, a commoner who almost snatched the top spot. Those from number 2 said that compared to our Tiansheng, geniuses from other provinces are just trash. With pictures and proof, you two quickly became famous in the neighboring provinces. Both you and Su Lin Shu facepalmed. Who exactly taught them to brag like this? After chatting for a while, the three of you became more acquainted. You told them about the plan to kill the Calamity Mother Beast. The two immediately nodded in agreement. However, when you arrived at the city center, you found the malice chi thick as stone, permeating the skyscrapers. This was incomparable to the outer regions. Suddenly, swarms of Calamity Beasts rushed over. Ming immediately used intimidation and his massive body charged into the beast-filled streets. Immediately following that, purple flames exploded throughout the street. You looked at the swarms of Calamity Beasts coming from different directions and immediately realized something was wrong. The Calamity Mother Beast has found us. They must have their own special way of communicating. You decisively drew your sword and charged at the beasts surging from the right. Luo Xuan followed immediately. Su Lingshu quickly summoned her magic orb, like a god. Instantly, a solid ice wall blocked the Calamity Beasts. Sharp ice spikes then erupted toward the rear. Countless Calamity Beasts wailed, falling in rows like mown grass. On the other side, Ming charged through the search. Like an unstoppable black tide, the entire street was engulfed in a sea of purple fire. All beasts burned to ash within seconds. But soon, even more Calamity Beasts surged forward. You gradually felt the pressure mount as wounds appeared. The hundreds of corpses at your feet didn't even account for 1,000th of the swarm. There are roughly 1,000,000 beasts in this city. Even if your stamina ran out, you couldn't kill them all. You decisively ordered Ming to kill the Calamity Mother Beast. Hearing your command, Ming turned and smashed through the ice wall, sending all beasts along the way, flying as he headed toward the city center where the malice chi was thickest. Just as Ming was reaching the center across the bridge, a dark red brute over 10 meters long suddenly lashed out from the malice chi, instantly slamming into him. Ming was sent flying backwards, but as Ming stood up from the rubble, he let out a furious, low growl. Dark red tentacles swirled around him with countless eyes all fixed on him. The giant octopus mother seemed to sense danger and backed away. Ming attacked immediately. The giant octopus retracted while whipping out several tentacles. Ming dodged what he could and used his claws to deal with what he couldn't. Suddenly, In a moment of neglect, a dark red tentacle sent him flying. The distance he had worked so hard to close was instantly widened again. Previously, Hai Ming relied on his gigantified strength and defense to suppress enemies in melee. But facing the giant octopus's tentacles, he had no way to get close. As the tentacles whistled through the air again, their terrifying force twisted the ground, nearly crushing Hai Ming. But with a roar from Hai Ming, a surge of purple flames exploded mercilessly, forcing the violent tentacles back completely. Using that momentum, Hai Ming lunged out, choosing to risk it all to break through. In the city center, you struggled to stand up. Your clothes were already shredded to pieces. Luo Xuan wasn't faring any better. His shield was nearly shattered, and blood seeped through his entire body. Only Su Lin Shui stood unharmed atop an ice pillar. Protected by you and Luo Xuan, she kept her eyes closed to recover her mana. Luo Xuan braced against the pressure up front, stubbornly guarding you both behind him. While your brow furrowed slightly, through the soul contract, you realized Hai Ming's vitality was rapidly draining. He was currently trapped in a dire situation. Suddenly, Su Lin Shui opened her ice-blue eyes. Thousands of frost souls, activate! The entire world seemed to plunge into an icy abyss instantly. The ice and snow transformed into twin dragons 100 meters long, roaring as they charged out. You looked ahead in disbelief. There were rumors that Su Lin Shui's hidden class was incredibly powerful. Seeing it now, it truly lives up to the hype. This single move's power is likely above S rank. This one strike could wipe out most of the calamity beasts. Watching the endless stream of beasts joining from the distance, you knew that at this stage of the fight, you have to take down the king to stop the army. Glancing at Hai Ming's evolution bar, it was only 30 points away from being full. You decisively call the other two to head straight for the Mother Beast's location. The only way to win is to let Hai Ming evolve mid-battle. Only then is there a sliver of hope. Otherwise, the three of you can't possibly stand against the Calamity Army. Shortly after, you pushed through the beasts to reach the city center. This place had already been turned into ruins by the fight between Hai Ming and the giant octopus. At this moment, a roar echoed from the distance. You guys quickly ran toward the center of the Malice Chi, only to see Hai Ming with a fading aura and covered in blood. He let the tentacles lash his body, but didn't take a single step back. Approaching the Mother Beast is the only hope for victory. You plan to lure the swarm so Hai Ming could devour them. Taunt the Mother Beast. I'll lure the Calamity Beasts over. Luo Xuan trembled all over upon hearing this. Am I going to die? Not likely. Su will be right there to support you. Then you ran straight toward Hai Ming. Luo Xuan could only grit his teeth and use taunt on the giant octopus. Luckily, his level was so low it barely had any effect. The octopus just glanced at him and casually swiped a tentacle. Luo Xuan quickly raised his shield to block. Arms of the earth. Several yellow rock walls instantly condensed. At the same time, Su Lin Shui used an ice wall to shield Luo Xuan. With a loud bang, the ice wall didn't even last a second. The rock wall only held for 2 more seconds, eventually blocking a third of the power. But when the tentacles slammed into Luo Xuan's shield, he felt like heaven and earth were collapsing. With a sharp pain in his chest, he coughed up a huge mouthful of blood and blacked out. Meanwhile, you lured the swarm to Hai Ming's side so he could devour them. To increase his evolution energy, after reaching Hai Ming's vicinity, you immediately cast Restoration and Fortification, allowing Hai Ming to break free from the tentacles restraining him. While rapidly charging into the Calamity Swarm, the Mother Beast noticed the problem, but it was already too late to stop him, as countless purple flames erupted within the swarm. The fire carried the devouring energy back into Hai Ming's body. Seeing Hai Ming's evolution bar full, you immediately clicked Evolve. Terrifying energy exploded from within Hai Ming. A massive pillar of light shot straight into the sky, and he gained a new skill, Zunlian. His other talents were all upgraded from C rank to B rank. He also gained a new talent, Vajra Body. His entire form is imbued with immovable Vajra power. Simultaneously, all his attributes increased by 60 points. When Hai Ming fixed his gaze on the giant octopus again, it felt an unprecedented fear, followed by endless rage. No creature had ever dared to provoke it like this. All the massive tentacles whipped toward Hai Ming. However, the golden light on Hai Ming's body shined bright. He only trembled slightly as he blocked the attack, and a towering phantom instantly formed over him. The surrounding temperature skyrocketed. At this moment, you felt something grab your leg. Looking down, you saw it was Luo Xuan, who had just woken up. He squeezed out a smile. Bro, you're a beast. I'm definitely sticking with you. You quickly helped him up. Then, the three of you watched the two giant beasts clash. He Ming raised his sharp claws high, and the phantom behind him raised its claws in sync. In an instant, several of the octopus's tentacles were severed. The other tentacles flailed wildly, but they couldn't deal any damage to Hai Ming's body, as countless malice chi rapidly merged into his body. The octopus's size surged massively. Then all its tentacles lashed out to strangle Hai Ming. Under their mutual frantic attacks, countless surrounding buildings collapsed after several hours. Above the ruins, only Hai Ming remained standing. Accompanied by his thunderous roar, the malice chi shrouding this world completely dissipated, and the octopus's life aura vanished along with it. The three of you finally let out a sigh of relief, eliminating the Calamity Mother Beast plus thousands of minions. The rating for this first awakening dungeon will definitely be insane. Following a notification sound, you all vanished. Settlement results. 8,564 Calamity Beasts slain, successfully killed the Mother Beast. Protected over 100 survivors in Ning'an City. Congratulations. Your rating is perfect. Class promoted to Summoning Swordmaster. Congratulations on learning the class skill Soul Blade. Ignores all physical defense to deal direct soul damage. Damage intensity scales with soul power. Looking at the panel appearing before you, you were somewhat surprised. Bypassing physical defense entirely? This kind of skill is just straight up broken. In the next second, a half-meter-long soul blade appeared before you. You planned to test it out immediately. The moment you activated the skill, you felt your soul power get drained instantly. You hurriedly retracted the soul blade. It seems this skill can only be used as a trump card. Your soul power simply can't support a second use. After having a big meal, you finally recovered some of your energy. Opening your phone, you found 2 friend requests from Luo Xuan and Sulin Shu. Given the life and death bond you shared, you immediately clicked accept. Then you scrolled down. A message from your homeroom teacher, Lu Wen, caught your eye. The recruitment tutors from the top academies will be at number 2 high at 2 p.m. today. Get ready and come over. After seeing the message, you rushed to school. Just as you reached the gate, you saw Lu Wen waiting for you. You're finally here. This time, all 5 top-tier academies have sent recruitment tutors. In the entire number 2 high, you're the only one with this treatment. His voice was filled with excitement, and Principal Li nearby was grinning ear to ear as you all walked into the school together. The students along the way greeted you with great enthusiasm. Some pretty underclassmen even saw you and handed you a pink love letter directly. This scene left Lu Wen with a face full of black lines. Upon reaching the principal's office, Lu Wen took a dragon-shaped, encircled ring from a drawer. This is the reward from the government. They saw your exam video and specifically chose a sword staff, a dual-form weapon, and a Tier 5 universal skill book. Your eyes lit up instantly. That common quality sword staff was already damaged from too many battles. Without a doubt, a weapon is what you need most right now, and a Tier 5 universal skill book can be learned by any class. Its value is at least several million. You opened the ring and probed it with your mind. Instantly, 2 pieces of info surfaced. One was the skill book, and the other was the Tianquan sword staff. After seeing the stats, you nodded in satisfaction. It's perfect for a summoner. During the academy selection, all 5 major academies offered you olive branches. First was Qingtian Academy. Student Chen, if you choose Qingtian, all resources are yours to pick, plus 3 items as an entry gift. The tutor from Beilong Academy sneered in disdain. Only 3 items? Are you treating him like a beggar? I think you're underestimating the weight of a provincial top scorer. I see you like sword ki. Come to my Beilong Academy. I can arrange for a sword Dao specialist to give you one-on-one tutoring, guaranteeing your swordsmanship reaches the next level. Student Chen joining Yuntian Academy is the right choice. We can bring your mother and sister over together, and all living arrangements will be handled properly. Only Ji Fei from Yongquei Academy took a deep breath and spoke up. As long as you join Yongquei, I can directly apply to get you the absolute best materials for summoning. We'll boost the drop rate of top-tier summons, and we'll cover all growth resources for that black wolf of yours. Whatever they offered, we can match it all, including sending you my daughter. Hearing this, the other 4 went silent. After all, there are so many monsters this year, with over 10 people scoring above 20,000. If they burn too many resources here, it'll be hard to compete for others later. Thinking it wasn't worth it, the 4 of them silently gave up. Hearing that they were giving so much, you quickly said that everything else was fine. But forget about the daughter part. The principal and Lu Wen's faces were flushed red. This cunning kid really struck gold this time. Surprisingly, when the tutor Jifei heard you didn't want his daughter, his expression changed to one of delight. If you like them a bit more mature, that works too. After saying that, she even straightened her back. Looking at her impressive curves, you didn't dare stare. After signing the agreement and saying goodbye to your teachers, you went home. 2 days later, Mom sent you to the airport, and you flew alone to Yunque Academy in Zhongtian City. Countless students with top-tier scores gathered here. At a glance, there were many geniuses who had already completed their first awakening. Many people checked their ego. Even the seniors at the reception desk sighed that this year, powerhouses are everywhere, and geniuses are as common as dogs. Moreover, the #1 ranked top scorer reportedly broke the 30,000-point limit. At this moment, 2 young girls stepped out of a private car. They looked about 70% alike. The people around immediately recognized them as the top scorers of Chongjiang province. Since they were a duo, they tied for first place. At this time, you also stepped out of your private car. A beautiful senior girl immediately came over. "Are you a freshman? Let me take you to register your information." After you finished registering with her, she even arranged a place for you to stay. At the same time, she gave you a phone, connected to the Apocalypse system, allowing you to look up lots of restricted data. As you entered your student ID, the senior next to you instantly froze in place, because she had never seen anyone start school with 100,000 credits. After all, these credits are enough to buy even epic tier gear. Inside the Yunque Academy office, Jifei was currently facing trouble. Clearly, our resources were enough to recruit 4 provincial-level top scorers, but you spent way too much on him. You've wasted Yunque Academy's chance to stop being the bottom-tier school. The total value of these summoning materials is tens of thousands of credits. The resource package is top tier, and you gave him 100,000 credits. This far exceeds his own value. Even an S-rank monster with the highest exam score would be tempted by these terms. Have you watched his exam recording? Don't you think that summons growth speed is too fast? Zhang Wuyue immediately drew a conclusion. Are you saying that the summons talent exceeds the estimated S-rank? But she quickly shook her head in denial. That's impossible. A first awakening summon can't be top tier. It grew fast before likely by sacrificing its growth potential to boost combat power, meaning it'll only get weaker later on. However, Jifei on the opposite side remained smiling. We'll see for ourselves during the freshman tournament tomorrow. Zhang Wuyue frowned deeply. I don't approve of your gambling. When the results come out tomorrow, even if the dean is your mom, you won't escape punishment. Meanwhile, you received a message from Jifei. The materials for your second summon have been approved. If you need anything else, just tell me. I'll do my best to apply for it. Seeing the message, you were very happy. This tutor really cares about you, and offering such generous terms is truly rare. But gratitude aside, the necessary materials couldn't be skipped. The materials were delivered shortly after. Next, you prepared to perform your second summon. As you cast the spell in the void, mana instantly filled the entire room and a shimmering object appeared in the air. A silver butterfly appeared before your eyes. Your mouth twitched slightly. This better not be some weakling or dud. You quickly opened the panel to check, but you almost dropped your jaw in shock. These stats were actually weaker than Heiming's. It had literally set a new record for the lowest stats possible. Then you caught the flying silver butterfly. Detection starting. Loyalty. 100%. Never back down. Would you like to perform the natal link? As you clicked confirm, the familiar soul-tearing sensation returned. Natal link complete. Congratulations, the summon has obtained a unique talent. SS rank. Myriad transformations. Can transform into any shape, and gain different abilities in each form. Hearing this, you finally breathed a sigh of relief, until the silver butterfly transformed into your likeness and said blankly, Master. You couldn't help but to feel curious. After a preliminary investigation, you finally realized just how OP myriad transformations really was. Next, you prepared to give it a test run. After spending a few hundred credits on your phone for a set of basic armor, the items were delivered shortly. You opened the box. Inside were pieces of armor for various body parts. You began to communicate with the silver butterfly mentally. It nodded slightly, turning into stardust and transforming into a set of armor. As the armor covered your body piece by piece, you didn't feel any discomfort at all. It felt as if the armor was originally a part of your own body. As expected, power armor is the ultimate romance for men. It's just that the defense is still a bit weak. Sensing your thoughts, the silver butterfly's intent was immediately transmitted, roughly meaning that the armor form's hardness can be further increased via metals, and it won't disappear even after switching forms. Also, there's a small chance to gain the item's special traits when absorbing them. It has no upper limit, just like gluttony. You couldn't wait to pick up the purchased armor and let the silver butterfly merge with it. It instantly swallowed the armor whole. Afterwards, you felt the silver butterfly on your body grow a bit harder. This way, defense will no longer be a weakness. In the past, you might have been one-shot by a powerful attack, but that's no longer an issue. As long as you feed the silver butterfly, you, a summoner, can even become a tanky brawler and charge straight in. Thinking of this, you immediately messaged Ji Fei. I need metal materials with special traits. The more the better. He quickly replied with an okay. Only half an hour later, the delivery notification arrived. The boxes were filled with rare metal ores of various traits. Every single one belonged to the precious resource category. The total value must be in the tens of millions. Furthermore, these are military-controlled resources that ordinary class holders can't even buy. Next, you let the silver butterfly merge with everything, not even sparing the crates. Soon, the armor covering your body became incredibly hard. At the same time, its weight reached a staggering 5 tons, but it had zero impact on you. However, if it fell on an enemy, it would be like a mountain crushing them. While absorbing, the silver butterfly also gained a sharpness trait, greatly increasing its lethality. At the same time, there was a weapon on your back that could change form at any time. This is exactly the living armor you imagined. Early the next morning, you washed up and went downstairs, only to find 3 young men sitting in the living room. You looked over with some surprise. Apparently, they all knew you. One of them, a cold-looking man, spoke with disdain. He just got lucky and obtained a powerful summon, that's all. He was the runner-up from Longjie Province with an exam score of 23,000. Naturally, he looked down on you. The winter top scorer, look at you talking. If someone's summon is OP, it's luck. But if you awaken an SSS rank talent, it's skill? Another roommate, Feng Ye, retorted just then. A voice echoed through the entire academy. All freshman students carry your weapons and gear, and assemble at Yunke Square immediately. The freshman tournament must have been moved forward by half a month, a man said, pushing up his glasses. Zhaoyang, how do you know? Feng Ye asked, puzzled. In recent years, mutated beasts outside the city have increased. Many places are now forbidden zones. Countries are sending all their combat power to the front lines. There's simply no manpower left to clear out the mutated beasts. Feng Ye frowned. You mean the Academy plans to send us to clear them out? Exactly. Humanity no longer has the luxury of time to nurture talent slowly. Fighting mutated beasts early isn't like a dungeon where you can quit when it's dangerous. The death rate is extremely high, but the growth speed is also insane. So if you want to play it safe and farm, you'd better not stand out in the tournament. Keep your rank low. If you refuse to clear the mutated beasts, then the Academy won't force you. Hearing this, you fell silent. The situation had become that dire. You suddenly remembered the world in the awakening dungeon, where countless people died in the disaster, with only a few survivors struggling to breathe. To think Blue Star is about to face the same crisis. Suddenly, the arrogant voice of the cold man reached your ears. Starting early is perfect. Chen Tiansheng, I'm going to crush you and prove I'm more worthy of the title of top scorer. Looking at his condescending attitude, you smiled. Fine. Let's see who's better, but I'll be the one suppressing everyone. Because you had to get strong fast. Mom and your sister were waiting for your protection. At the same time, freshmen gathered at Yunke Square as tutors, and the vice dean stood on stage. They began announcing the rankings. Students in the top 100 must go outside the city to clear mutated beasts. Meanwhile, the freshman tournament scheduled for half a month from now will be held right now. You will enter a large-scale level 20 to 30 dungeon, Rift Canyon. This tournament will determine future resource allocation. The top 100 will get 5,000 credits, and the top 50 will get 10,000. After the announcement, the dungeon gates slowly opened. The leaking aura swept through the crowd, making some people's legs shake and lips tremble. Are you kidding me? I haven't even had my first awakening yet. How are we supposed to fight? At this moment, a tall figure was searching for something nearby. Soon he squeezed through the crowd, and you saw Luo Xuan running over with a young girl. You were a bit surprised. Before, he said he wanted to apply for Yunque just like you, but you didn't expect him to actually do it. This is my sister, Luo Ning. Our lives are in your hands now, Brother Chen. Luo Ning hid behind her brother like she had social anxiety. I can't team up with you this time. Hearing this, Luo Xuan panicked instantly. Brother Chen, we definitely won't drag you down. I can tank and Xiaoning can buff and CC. That's not the issue. You sighed, then said seriously, teaming up with me will be extremely dangerous. I'm not afraid. As your gaze moved toward Luo Ning, he suddenly realized. Little sis, maybe you should find someone else to team with? I want to follow you guys. Luo Ning almost burst into tears. Knowing his sister's personality, leaving her alone would be no different from murder. Luo Xuan was feeling conflicted. Watching this, you sighed helplessly and sent them a team invite. With your current strength, as long as you were careful, protecting them shouldn't be a problem. Soon, students began entering the dungeon. Most of the people here chose to go solo. In a top-tier academy, this phenomenon wasn't surprising at all. As the white light enveloped your bodies, the three of you began to enter the dungeon. Rift Canyon spans hundreds of kilometers with countless paths like a giant maze. As soon as you entered, roars echoed from ahead. Luo Xuan didn't hesitate. Immediately raising his great shield and using taunt, countless monsters lunged out from the shadows. Luo Ning was a bit nervous and quickly used her buff. The monsters' bodies visibly stiffened as the surrounding colors quickly shattered into a gray domain. With a slight movement of your will, a silver butterfly appeared with a white light, slowly landing on your finger. In a brilliant flash of fluorescence, you were clad in silver armor. After tossing the Tianquan sword staff to Luo Ning, you drew the combat blade from your back. Your figure instantly appeared before the monsters. The sword slashed through them like tofu, smoothly cutting through several bodies. Your movements turned into an afterimage, and in the blink of an eye, you had slaughtered your way through. The monsters fell before they could even react. Seeing this, Luo Xuan shouted excitedly, "That's badass, bro!" He finally experienced the joy of being carried by an OP teammate. Luo Ning also breathed a sigh of relief as if a weight had been lifted. Meanwhile, the tutors watching from outside were completely shocked. Speed and damage like that, he's almost catching up to a hidden melee class, right? But isn't he a summoner? Something's wrong. These stats are way off. Even if he had a perfect first awakening and his class evolved, he shouldn't have this kind of melee capability. At this moment, a tutor thought back carefully. I think it might be because of that silver butterfly. It's Chen Tiansheng's second summon. Hearing this, their faces were full of disbelief. A summon that can turn into a weapon? Such a thing has never appeared. Even the knowledgeable Vice Dean was slightly surprised, while Ji Fei, standing to the side, just let his lips curl into a slight smile. At the same time, you gained a general understanding of your own strength. You can one-shot these level 20 monsters. You've already reached the peak of the second awakening stage. Even against a third awakening opponent, you could hold your own or escape safely. Sensing this colorless domain carefully, you were somewhat surprised. Negative emotions were constantly generated here, trying to crush your will at every moment. Ning, hurry and deactivate the domain! Seeing you standing still and worried you were affected, Luo Xuan shouted. Luo Ning looked panicked, her mind momentarily going blank. Don't worry. I'm fine. In a flash, you stepped out of the gray domain, your expression calm and completely unaffected. Sorry, I got anxious and forgot how to control it. Luo Ning's voice was tense, knowing she had messed up. You didn't blame her, but you suddenly understood why their parents agreed to let Luo Xuan bring his sister along. Her talent is out of control, and she's timid and insecure. I'm afraid no one else would be willing to team up with her. You smiled and comforted her. It's okay. You checked the recorder. You only had 120 points. This speed was clearly a bit slow. To get stronger quickly, you had to take first place and secure the Academy's resource allocation. Whether it's the Silver Butterfly or He Ming, they both need massive amounts of metal materials and energy to grow wildly without limits. Thinking of this, you moved your will, and He Ming instantly appeared. After a roar, his gigantified form exploded to over 100 meters tall, with pitch-black flames covering his body. Picking a direction, He Ming charged out, vanishing from sight in an instant. Not long after, your wrist recorder started pinging constantly, with point notifications. your score began skyrocketing, because Ming's base state is already at the 3rd awakening level, and his gigantified form can tank a 4th awakening. So you let him go wild. The efficiency of sweeping through was way faster. Let's go too. You headed down another path, planning to farm points from both ends. In just 2 minutes, Ming had covered over 10 kilometers, engulfing every monster in his path in flames. They turned into energy and flew back into his body, his size growing by millimeters. In the distance, 5 freshmen were struggling to hold off a swarm of giant spiders. Suddenly, they felt the ground tremble, followed by a searing heat. The 100-meter-tall Ming tore through, the flames along his path incinerating the spiders instantly. Within seconds, the corpses turned to ash. The devouring flames carried the energy back to the already distant Ming. Watching this, the 5 stood frozen in place, completely stunned. On the other side, the top scorer girl leaped high, commanding a lightning dragon to crash down on countless monsters. The moment the lightning exploded, all the monsters were annihilated. The girl looked unsatisfied.
These trash can't even take a hit.
Seeing her sister acting up again, Luolan looked helpless. If I knew, I wouldn't have let her learn Blazing Battle Will. The side effects are way too much. They were the twin top scorer duo from the first day. Originally, the older sister Luo Hongying was just a bit battle-hungry, but now it's become pathological. Thinking of this, Luolan couldn't help but worry. Will her sister turn into a domestic abuser in the future? Just as her thoughts were wandering, a heart-palpitating aura suddenly surged forward along with a searing heat. Before she could react, Luo Hongying stepped out with a solemn look. Her fiery gaze burst with battle intent, and violent lightning instantly surged through her spear. Facing the charging flame giant wolf, just meeting those vertical pupils made her mind tremble. However, the corners of Luo Hongying's mouth curled up. On her stunning face, a look of madness emerged.
Now this is interesting. This is what I'm talking about.
Watching her sister charge forward fearlessly, Luolan skillfully cast several layers of buffs. With these enhancements, Luo Hongying's combat power directly doubled. She was already capable of fighting above her level, and now she was even more broken. A 10-meter-long lightning dragon shot out from her spear. When the two collided, the massive force kicked up a shockwave. Seeing Ming emerge unscathed with a golden glow, Luo Hongying's face stiffened, and the battle intent in her eyes vanished, replaced by pure disbelief. That strike had the power of a 3rd awakening. How could this black wolf be completely fine? Ming looked coldly at the person beneath him who had attacked for no reason. His sharp claws swiped down instantly. With a sharp crack, under the terrifying strength, 3 protective barriers shattered instantly. A startled Luo Hongying hurriedly raised her spear to block, but her figure was still sent flying, crashing dozens of meters away. Luolan's expression changed drastically. With a thought, she clasped her hands, and a holy phantom dozens of meters tall with 3 pairs of white wings slowly appeared. S-rank talent, Angel's Favor. A golden light screen instantly rose to envelop the two. Luolan felt her spirit power draining away like a massive leak. She immediately shouted, "Hurry and retreat!" Before she could finish, the charging Ming raised his claws and instantly shredded the golden barrier. He glanced coldly at them and then walked past slowly. Seeing this, Luolan was stunned. Luo Hongying, struggling to stand, was also dazed. Outside the dungeon, there was a dead silence. All the tutors, including the vice dean and many seniors who came to watch, were absolutely speechless. Looking at the smug Ji-Fei, Zhang Wuyue felt 10,000 points of shock. This strength has surpassed the scope of a 2nd awakening, right? The Luo Hongying twins both possess SS rank talents and hidden classes. They are the top geniuses in the entire Great Xia. Yet they were crushed so easily by Chen Tiansheng's summon. For the next 10 hours, Ming didn't stop for a moment while traversing the canyon. He killed over 10,000 monsters, and even took down a Tier 3 boss. His size grew by 33 meters, and all attributes increased by 27 points. But the further he went, the more energy he needed to grow. However, after an attribute reaches 100, each additional point is more effective than before. At this point, you weren't dissatisfied. After all, this was the harvest from just half a day's work. It was still terrifyingly high, just slower compared to before. But it's naturally harder to progress the further you go. No one is an exception. Just then, Luo Xuan said with an excited face.
Brother Chen,
We just gained 6 levels. This was his first time experiencing such effortless leveling. Luo Ning was clearly happy too. Her gray eyes showed emotions other than nervousness and fear. You smiled and glanced at the recorder. The points had reached 34,000. You communicated silently with your mind. Instantly, the silver's armor vanished, turning into a silver butterfly perched on your shoulder. Not far away, Hai Ming lay tired on the ground. He had cleared a whole circle. 10 hours of high-intensity combat had... He's exhausted. If it weren't for his high constitution attributes, he wouldn't have been able to withstand the heavy load of gigantification. Luo Xuan looked at Hai Ming and felt it was a bit cruel. Brother Chen, is he okay? You shook your head and cast a restoration spell. Soon, the dungeon time limit expired, and a white light enveloped you all, teleporting you back to Yonghui Square. Countless amazed and intense gazes instantly locked onto you. Then the Vice Dean's secretary shouted from the stage, "All right! I will now announce the leaderboard for all students' points. First place, Chen Tiansheng, 34,500 points." Hearing this, every single student wore a look of utter shock, because the gap between first and second was a total cliff dive. Second place is Feng Ye with only 13,000 points. This is impossible. The cold man was in total disbelief. Is there something wrong with the rankings? It wasn't just him. Many people around also found it somewhat absurd. Forget about Chen Tiansheng's ridiculously high score for a second. Why were everyone else's scores, including the 2 top scorers, so low? Seeming to see everyone's confusion, the secretary on stage explained, "That black wolf you encountered was actually Chen Tiansheng's summon. Many people were heavily injured trying to block him, which wasted too much time, resulting in this massive score gap." Instantly, everyone's gaze turned into pure shock. Since Hai Ming had practically cleared the entire canyon, most people had run into him. But forget about blocking him. They didn't even dare to move. Only a few top-tier geniuses, who were overconfident in their own strength, chose to try and stop this fake boss, and were undoubtedly swiped into the dirt by a single claw. A dozen or so students glared at you through gritted teeth, as they were the victims. Feng Ye looked stunned. He was highly skeptical of the rankings because there were at least 3 people stronger than him on the field. There was no way he should be second. At this moment, Feng Ye felt like everyone else was just acting. Thinking of this possibility, he felt a chill run down his spine. On the other side, hearing the secretary's explanation, Luo Hongying stared at you without masking her gaze. Luo Lan, standing nearby, hurriedly tried to persuade her sister. "It's our fault for attacking without understanding the situation. We can't blame him." "I know." Luo Hongying nodded and looked away. Seeing this, Luo Lan sighed in relief. She didn't want to become enemies with this person over a simple misunderstanding. That summon's casual swipe had shredded the angel phantom protecting her, leaving an indelible shadow on her heart. Overlooking the crowd from the platform, the secretary spoke. "The freshman tournament ends here. The rankings will determine your class assignments tomorrow. You are now dismissed." After returning to your dorm, you found the second batch of supplies had arrived, delivered by none other than the cold man, Li Zhongfeng. This indirectly showed that he had backed down. You smiled and thanked him before entering your room to open the crates. There were clearly more rare crystals this time than the previous 2. It seemed the Academy had pulled together everything they could allocate. Since you'd already chosen to be a frontline summoner, you had to rely on a massive amount of resources to stack your stats. 10 minutes later, all the ores were merged by the silver butterfly. Its hardness had reached a level where even a 3rd awakening class holder couldn't break through. Its weight had risen to 30 tons, yet you felt nothing while wearing it. Meanwhile, the sharpness trait received another buff. Just then, your phone received a notification. The 50,000 credit reward for first place in the freshman exam had been deposited. You then chose to upgrade Hai Ming. After purchasing dozens of fruit-type resources, the supplies were delivered quickly. After Hai Ming absorbed them, his base form reached a size of 40 meters. His gigantified state was now even more terrifying than before, and his life tier reached ultimate summon. The benefit was that his attribute gains per level would now double. Early the next morning, you finished washing up and got out of bed. The other 3 roommates were already waiting downstairs. Since everyone was assigned to Class 1, you all prepared to head to class together. On the way, Luo Xuan and Luo Ning followed along. They were also assigned to Class 1. The dorm area wasn't far from the classrooms. After arriving, you chose a seat by the window and sat down. Suddenly, 2 extremely beautiful twins entered through the door. drawing the gazes of numerous students along the way. After looking around for a moment, Luo Hongying pulled her sister over and sat directly in front of you. Seeing this, Feng Ye's eyes were instantly filled with envy. Chen Tiansheng's riz was so high, he was practically surrounded by beauties. After all, these sisters were powerhouse tier, ranking third among all the freshmen. At this time, the sharp-looking Jifei walked into the classroom. After scanning the entire class, he spoke solemnly. "My name is Jifei, and I will be your homeroom teacher from now on. Additionally, there is an important matter I need to inform everyone about. You are all geniuses from various provinces and should receive the best resources for slow nurturing. But unfortunately, the situation has changed. Our front lines are already in critical condition, so you cannot stay at Yunque Academy and continue your classes in peace." Everyone gasped. Society seemed to be running in perfect order, and even many entertainment industries were flourishing. Why was he suddenly saying a catastrophe was imminent? Then Jifei began to explain. "Have you noticed that you basically can't find any powerhouses above the fifth awakening in society? That's because they've all gone to the front lines without looking back. That is why we have peace in the rear. Now the scale of mutated beasts is growing. If we don't suppress them, the monsters will launch a total offensive early. The time has come for us to step up. Every academy will send its best prospects to military bases to cull the mutated beasts. So, those willing to volunteer for the military base operation, please stand up now." Upon hearing this, the students stood up one after another. After scanning the room, Jifei nodded in satisfaction and waved his hand. "Everyone move out to the military base." Unexpectedly, a fat guy who remained sitting was unhappy. "Wait, do those of us who didn't stand up have to go too?" He had experienced the terrifying brush with death in Rift Canyon and never wanted to go through that again. However, Jifei just scanned him with a cold gaze. "Those who don't want to go can drop out of Yunque Academy right now." He then led everyone to the school gate where a fleet of buses was waiting. Everyone boarded the buses and headed for the military base. 9 hours later, you arrived at the Hengshan base. A group of Special Ops soldiers stood at the gate waiting for your arrival. Next, Jifei led everyone to the mission terminal area. A female squad member distributed black smartwatches to everyone. The watch looked similar to the recorder from the college entrance exam, but it added mission checking and map functions. After a few taps, a voice message played from the watch. "Number 21. Glad to be at your service. For this mutated beast culling operation, each student must accept and complete at least one mission per day. You have not met today's quota. Please accept a mission as soon as possible." Hearing this, you began to think. The Balian mountain range stretches for thousands of miles. In the outskirts, there are tens of thousands of level 10 to 30 mutated beasts. Further in is the territory of level 40 to 50 beasts. Since Haiming can unleash power around the 4th awakening level, to be safe, it's best to take on standard 3rd awakening missions. You then picked 3 missions: culling the violent black apes, the twin-fanged giant tigers, and the blood-drenched giant crocodiles 200 kilometers away. These 3 missions were close to each other, which would save travel time. Plus, mutated beasts are territorial, so it's unlikely they'll be missing from their spots. At the same time, there were over 1,000 drones hovering over the mountains for surveillance. It could be said the military base was fully prepared. Also, for safety, everyone on a mission could collect 3 high-explosive grenades. After collecting them, you headed straight to the mission location. The female soldier at the station had a flash of surprise in her eyes. Taking 3 missions that require 3rd awakening strength to perform safely? He must be really strong. But he looks like a total freshman, right? Concern appeared on her face. 2 hours later, you reached the destination, but the people in the command center looked solemn. Through the drone feed, they noticed your route looked off. "Quick, check exactly what missions he accepted," said Chen Tiansheng, a middle-aged man in a major general's uniform. The woman controlling the screen checked and spoke in a shocked tone. He intends to kill the level 33 violent black ape, the level 36 twin-fanged giant tiger, and the level 39 blood-drenched giant crocodile. These all require third awakening strength. The last one is even close to fourth awakening difficulty. Is he insane? Yang Xiao, also in a major general's uniform, felt a massive headache coming on. Looking at the list sent by the various teachers, his mouth couldn't help but twitch. So this is Yunque Academy's top freshman this year. Only level 16 and he dares to take on third awakening class missions? Mutated beasts have talents just like humans do, and they are generally much more ferocious than dungeon monsters. Everyone else chooses missions weaker than their actual strength as targets. But he's something else, picking missions with the combat power gap of over 20 levels. It's practically a suicide mission. He immediately issued orders to have 4 attack helicopters move toward your vicinity. The moment there's danger, they will start a rescue operation immediately. Watching you on the screen, clad in silver armor, rapidly traversing the mountains, Yang Xiao let out a long sigh. Compared to other bases, his Hengshan base was likely going to be the dead weight. At this moment, terrifying sounds occasionally echoed from the distance. Suddenly, the smartwatch issued a prompt. Please note you have entered the habitat of the target, the violent black ape. In the next second, a massive azure serpent suddenly lunged out from the darkness, crashing through the bushes toward you. A full 4 meters thick, the azure serpent bared its sharp fangs and snapped fiercely at you. Your reaction was lightning fast. Both hands instantly grabbed its fangs, with a sudden burst of power. The giant snake's fangs instantly cracked and then snapped off. The giant snake roared in agonizing pain. At that moment, with a high-explosive grenade in each hand, you accurately tossed them into its mouth. 2 terrifying explosions echoed from the snake's throat. As they detonated instantly, charred black smoke wafted out. A level 30 mutated beast's life force is indeed strong. It still hadn't died. You remained calm and collected, clenching your fist and swinging directly at the giant snake. The snake's skull collapsed and shattered instantly. However, you still didn't stop, slamming down punch after punch until the snake's body went completely limp. This brutal scene left the command center, watching clearly via drone, in total silence. The female officer was shocked. He's a freak! He's only level 16 himself, yet he can brute force a level 29 giant python. The eyes of the others also revealed pure disbelief. Yang Xiao silently lowered his head, repeatedly looking at the profile in his hand. He was completely baffled. A full 13-level gap and he could still manage a total stomp. Just what kind of monster is he? The scene shifts to show a creature a full 50 meters tall, with muscles bulging all over its body. The violent black ape, covered in thick black fur, leaped down from halfway up the mountain as the ground throbbed in pain. It was startled awake by the commotion of the battle, and was now charging furiously toward your location. Inside the command center, Yang Xiao shook his head, already gripping his walkie-talkie. As soon as things took a turn for the worse on your end, he would immediately send the 4 attack helicopters for support. In the next second, a massive dark shadow lunged down at you from above. You showed zero fear, drawing the combat blade from your back and slashing forward. Instantly, a shockwave rippled out, and the ground beneath your feet cracked. Your feet sank into the earth, but all the black ape's damage was completely soaked by the silver butterfly armor. You didn't even feel a hint of the impact. The black ape roared again, slamming its palms down and kicking up a gale. However, amidst the billowing dust, you instantly flickered above the black ape's head. Gripping your blade, you swung down with a heavy strike. A flash like starlight streaked through the air, instantly hitting the back of the black ape's head. To your surprise, the ape's hide was so tough that it only left a shallow wound. You decided not to drag it out anymore and prepared to end it with your trump card. A transparent red sword, flickering between illusion and reality, floated in your hand, its blade etched with cryptic runes. Feeling your spirit power drain instantly, your head felt heavy. Let's see your power in your debut. You slowly raised your hand. Suddenly, the black ape's hair stood on end. It felt a wave of dread in its brain as if threatened by something invisible. It let out a furious roar, its eyes filled with bloodlust as its massive body lunged forward. Seeing this, you swung the soul blade, slicing through the void. One strike shattered the black ape's spirit. Without any warning, its mind went blank. Its massive body collapsed right in front of you. Under the soul blade, its body was useless even if it lived, for its spirit was already crushed. At this moment, in the air nearby, several soldiers on the support helicopters exchanged looks. One spoke into the walkie-talkie. "Do they even need us?" On the other side, the entire command center seemed to have the mute button pressed. Everyone stared blankly at the screen, not even understanding what happened. Yang Xiao pondered for a moment, immediately deducing that this must be a mental trauma attack. What truly shocked him was your terrifying combat power. You could actually bridge an 18-level gap to take on the violent black ape and come out without a scratch. A look of joy appeared on Yang Xiao's face. You absolutely had to grow up quickly. Nothing could be allowed to happen to you halfway. Yang Xiao immediately left the command center, entering a small, inconspicuous room and activating layers of secret formations. Then he carefully took out a jade talisman. "Brother Zhang, Hengshan Base found a total monster. He's a bit too OP. You're heavily injured right now, so I'm afraid I can't protect him." After waiting about half an hour, a message came from the talisman. "Xiaodong, be clear. How strong exactly?" Yang Xiao thought for a bit. "Between us two, if we teamed up, he'd still probably rub our heads into the dirt." The talisman went silent for a moment. "That's trouble. I bet even the whole human race can't protect him. Wait for the foreign races to start their assassinations." Yang Xiao felt helpless. "He could crush me with one hand. But for you, Brother Zhang, it's hard to say." The talisman immediately replied, "Fine, I'll discuss this with the other thrones." Hearing this, Yang Xiao put away the talisman and returned to the command center, silently hoping everything would go smoothly. On the other side, you walked to the giant snake's corpse and found an all-red crystal. Then you went to the black ape. With a flick of your will, you summoned the 40-meter-tall Hai Ming to devour the two mutated beast corpses. Soon, the evolution value increased by 0.2 points, but it was still a long, long way from the 1,200 goal. You started to suspect that perhaps only devouring life forms could be converted into evolution points. After a moment's thought, you took out the few life crystals you had dug out earlier and tossed them all into Hai Ming's pitch-black flames. As the life crystals melted, Hai Ming's evolution value instantly jumped by 10 points. Your eyes lit up. This meant there was a way to farm evolution points quickly. Glancing at the map, you said slowly, "Next target." A few minutes later, accompanied by a roar, a giant tiger over 30 meters long, with long, sharp fangs, lunged out at you. However, before it could even attack, Hai Ming stepped out from the bushes. Under his intimidation, the giant tiger was instantly terrified. In the next instant, the ground exploded. Hai Ming appeared in front of the giant tiger in a flash. With a sudden strike of his sharp claws, the giant tiger was sent flying. But before it could recover from the pain, Hai Ming was already standing in front of it again, his dark form covered in pitch-black flames. Seeing this, the giant beast immediately tried to turn and run. But in terms of speed, it was no match for Hai Ming. It was quickly overtaken. Under Hai Ming's frantic tearing and biting, in just 10 short seconds, the giant tiger was completely consumed by the black flames, leaving not even a bone behind. This brutal scene was transmitted back to the command center via drone, leaving everyone somewhat fearful. It was only then that Yang Xiao suddenly remembered that he really was a summoner. With a bitter smile, he felt the sentiment of the new generation surpassing the old. Two absolute monsters. The female officer nearby looked shocked. "He's not actually going to finish all 3 missions, is he?" Everyone's face showed pure admiration at her words. Meanwhile, Hai Ming carried you as you sped through the mountain range. This was already the territory where mutated beasts above level 30 roamed. Beside a lake hundreds of meters deep, a giant crocodile over 100 meters long, covered in blood-red scales, was resting with its eyes closed. Suddenly, it sensed something. It snapped its blood-colored eyes open and let out a massive roar as if asserting its dominance. Hai Ming immediately bared his fangs, a terrifying and tyrannical aura exploding from him. In the next second, his body rapidly grew, soon reaching 160 meters in height. Feeling itself being suppressed by an invisible force, the giant crocodile lunged forward in a rage. Seeing this, you immediately retreated dozens of meters away. Hai Ming's entire body erupted in pitch-black flames. Over his skin and fur, a circle of golden light slowly rose, exuding a sense of being completely immovable. The giant crocodile opened its massive maw and bit down on Hai Ming's golden light, but it couldn't close its mouth, making a grinding sound. Hai Ming raised his sharp claws and slammed them down fiercely. The giant crocodile roared and swung its tail, its massive, armor-plated tail whipping toward Hai Ming with a fierce gale. Instantly, 4 deep trenches were carved into the ground, but Hai Ming caught it with all his strength. The giant crocodile followed up by biting Hai Ming's neck, dragging him down into the lake behind them. Seconds later, a massive wall of water splashed into the sky. The pitch-black flames on Hai Ming's body didn't diminish at all. Instead, the surrounding lake water began to rise in temperature under the searing heat. The giant crocodile was death-gripped and suppressed. Despite using all its strength, it couldn't deal a single point of damage. After just a few minutes, a massive black wolf lunged out of the lake, his forelimbs grabbing the shore to climb up. He shook his body and the black flames instantly dried the water droplets on his fur. He slowly walked toward you. A burst of joyful cheers erupted in the command center. Yang Xiao also let out a slight smile. He won. He really completed all 3 missions. Beside the lake, you and Hai Ming stood tall in the wind. Just then, the watch on your wrist made a sound. All missions have been completed. You may return to the military base reception point for submission. You looked up at the sky. A long time had passed since you set out. After checking the route on the map for a while, you rode on Hai Ming and prepared to return to the base. By the time you returned to Hengshan Base, it was already 1 a.m. Although many students who took on perimeter missions had long since returned, the female soldier in charge still widened her eyes as you walked to the mission counter. She looked at you in total disbelief. After confirming the footage was correct, she tremblingly tallied up that staggering number, 100 contribution points. Shortly after you turned to leave, your name prominently appeared on the base's giant screen. Chen Tiansheng, freshman, Yonghui Academy. Contribution points, 100. In this moment, the entire student body exploded. You have to understand, many current second-year seniors only have double-digit contribution points. You, a mere freshman, actually completed missions that spanned across 2 major rank advancements. Some even suspected there was a glitch in the rankings. Meanwhile, mentor Feng Yi from the Luoxi base also noticed your name. He naturally remembered you, the top scorer he failed to recruit. The surrounding mentors all raised doubts, believing a senior must have carried you for points. After all, while such behavior is discouraged, it was the only explanation that made sense. Just then, Xiao Yunshu, who had awakened an SSS rank talent, walked over. He reported his results with a face full of confidence, claiming he had put in a lot of effort to slay a level 33 heavy-armored lizard. After hearing this, Feng Yi marveled from the bottom of his heart, as expected of this year's strongest monster. However, before Xiao Yunshu could finish flexing, he turned and saw your name on the big screen. Instantly, his smile froze on his face, and his mind was reeling. 100 contribution points? How is that even possible? Seeing Xiao Yunshu questioning his life, Feng Yi had no choice but to comfort him, saying it was the result of a senior carry. Although Xiao Yunshu breathed a sigh of relief, a huge sense of urgency welled up within him. He didn't even bother to rest. He turned around and accepted a new mission immediately. Charging into the dark mountains, he vowed to surpass you before sunrise. The scene shifts, and you've returned to your assigned humble dorm. Your 3 roommates were huddled around eating BBQ. Seeing you return so late, Feng Ye curiously asked about the mission. You said nonchalantly, "I just slaughtered those level 30-something monsters. It was pretty simple. The traveling part was just a bit tedious." Hearing this, the skewer in Feng Ye's hand dropped straight to the floor. You have to know ordinary students are like walking on thin ice in the wild. Yet you made hunting high-level mutated beasts sound as easy as eating a meal. The cold guy, Li Zhongfeng, wasn't surprised at all. After all, he had personally experienced the pain of your summon. In his eyes, your combat power tier was something rarely seen in the entire human race. After eating and drinking their fill, a farce played out in the dorm. Because his teammates were too cowardly, Feng Ye shamelessly clung to Li Zhongfeng's leg. Begging to team up, he even knelt on the ground and wouldn't let go. Ultimately, by the next morning, Li Zhongfeng, with a dark face, dragged his human leg attachment along to accept a mission. Watching them leave, you turned and accepted 2 difficult tier missions requiring 4th awakening strength, setting out once again toward the depths of the mountain range. In the command center, Yang Xiao saw this and took a sharp breath. Skipping 1 major rank wasn't enough. This kid actually wants to challenge the 4th awakening watershed. To prevent this genius from falling, he immediately arranged for a mentor to secretly follow and protect you. An hour later, you arrived at your destination riding Ming. Before you was a level 44 three-headed serpent coiled on a rock, staring at you coldly. Without a word, you directly summoned the soul blade and unleashed a strike. Before the three-headed serpent could even react, it was heavily wounded. It had absolutely no idea what had just happened. Taking this chance, you immediately let Ming launch the attack. With a roar, Ming's size exploded to 300 meters, charging forward like a natural disaster-level behemoth. The three-headed serpent spat out deadly venom in an attempt to resist. But Ming, relying on his terrifying defensive stats, tanked the damage head-on. Biting into its neck, he slammed it ruthlessly into the ground. Though the golden protection was corroded by venom, you stood calmly at a distance and cast a buff spell. Then your figure vanished, appearing directly in front of the three-headed serpent a second later, plunging your sword deep into its eye. The extreme pain made the serpent scream, but before it could counterattack, Ming's sharp claws, burning with pitch-black flames, swung out instantly, sending this behemoth straight to its grave, followed by the three-headed serpent's berserk rage as it tried to coil and crush you frantically. With a calm expression, relying on the silver butterfly armor's insane defensive power, you let the shockwaves explode all around you, empowered by the buff spell. Ming went full berserker mode, using his dark glow to rip through several meters of the serpent's hide. With an earth-shattering roar, Ming stood tall over the serpent's corpse. His 300-meter-plus body looked like a natural disaster had descended. This scene left Zhang Guoyue, who was observing from the shadows, completely dumbfounded. He never imagined in his wildest dreams that a level 16 summoner could so thoroughly crush a level 44 mutated beast on the front lines. At this moment, your sharp intuition sensed danger. Zhang Guoyue immediately revealed himself and casually one-shotted a lizard trying to ambush you. Zhang Guoyue faced you and said flatly, "Just passing through. I heard a lot of noise here, so I came to check it out." But the fear toward your summon in his eyes was already impossible to hide. You didn't expose him, simply smiling and thanking this tsundere mentor. For the rest of the day, you rode Ming as you sped through the mountain range. Wherever you went, mutated beasts above level 40 were lured out and slaughtered without exception. When you returned to the base late at night to turn in your missions, the entire place fell silent, followed by deafening cheers. Killing 15 fourth awakening mutated beasts in a single day? Your ranking shot up like a rocket from 1,200th place directly into the top 10. Meanwhile, back at the Hengshan base, a battered Zhao Yunshu walked back to the reception area. He originally wanted to flex his results of killing a level 36 mutated beast, but when he saw your name firmly in the top 10 on the big screen, his pride was completely shattered. Without a word, he turned around, dragging his heavily injured body back into the dark mountains. This grind-set energy even infected all the other students. Everyone skipped dinner and sleep, grabbing their weapons to return to the battlefield. Watching these suicidal geniuses, the command center didn't know whether to cry or laugh. The next morning, Yunque's top student, Qing Kong, personally led a team to your door. Beside him stood the support class, Ye Kechi, and the main attacker/tank, Wang Yao. Qing Kong and his team stood before you with pleading looks, inviting you to join them in hunting a level 52 rock dragon lizard. After thinking it over, you agreed for the sake of Ming's evolution materials. Soon, your group arrived inside the dungeon. Seeing the rock dragon lizard's 500-meter body covered in stone scales, the faces of Qing Kong's team turned solemn to the extreme. Only you moved your will, and the 230-meter-tall Ming descended instantly. With dark and golden glows activated simultaneously, the pressure from his full power made the very air feel suffocating. The rock dragon lizard angrily launched stone pillar spikes, only to have them swatted away by Ming's claw. With the head-on collision of these two behemoths, the true dragon-slaying battle across major ranks officially began. The rock dragon lizard's massive palm, carrying the weight of a mountain, slammed down ruthlessly. The golden light surrounding Ming instantly shattered like a mirror. Even with countless buffs, in the face of a level 52 overlord with a king-grade bloodline, the absolute suppression of rank still made Ming feel unprecedented pressure. Qing Kong and his team were dazed. They thought you were a junior who needed protection, but now they could only drag their wounded bodies and retreat in a sorry state. Yekexi even went as far as overdrawing her mana to summon the goddess of heavenly punishment, in an attempt to buy a slim chance of survival for Haiming. However, those defensive barriers were as fragile as paper in front of the dragon lizard. Seeing Qingkong and the others almost in a desperate situation, you remained as steady as a mountain, simply telling the three, "Everyone back up. Haiming is about to use his ult." A roar loud enough to tear the world apart suddenly exploded. Pitch-black flames erupted like a volcano, instantly turning everything within 1,000 meters into scorched earth. Under Ye Kexi's terrified gaze, the phantom of the goddess she worshipped was actually shattered directly by the sheer tyrannical aura emanating from Haiming, and this was your true trump card. The previously arrogant rock dragon lizard completely panicked. Enveloped in the sea of black fire, its prideful rock scales actually began to melt layer by layer. Haiming now transformed into a god of death harvesting lives. With 2,000 points in agility, he began the ultimate kiting game. The rock dragon lizard's clumsy body could only roar frantically, yet it couldn't even touch a single hair on Haiming. Finally, after 30 minutes of merciless erosion from the black flames, the former wasteland overlord let out its final wail, only to be greedily devoured by Haiming. Not even bones remained, only a field of ashes. The three in the distance looked at the battlefield, which resembled a post-apocalyptic ruin, without even the strength to stand firm. Young Xiao at the command center witnessed the entire process via drone. He gasped, skipping 4 major ranks and killing a level 52 king-grade bloodline at level 16. Monster wasn't enough to describe this anymore. He immediately decided to post this video to the entire Great Xia Academy forum tomorrow to let everyone know a god had been born. Qingkong and the others walked toward you with awe, trying to give all their contribution points to you. But you were already calculating your next move, which was letting Haiming devour this dragon lizard. After devouring it, Haiming's evolution value instantly soared by 150 points. Since it was this efficient, why bother killing level 40 trash mobs? Now your goal was to kill 10 more level 50 overlords, to let Haiming completely step into a higher life tier. Qingkong and the others readily agreed. After all, a level 50 mutated beast gave massive contribution points. They were willing to be your leg attachments for the whole day. Next, the 4 humans and 1 beast began a frantic sweep. Qingkong and Wang Yao tried their best, but could only trim the toenails of the mutated beasts, while Haiming's attacks were instant kills. By late night, the two were lying on the ground like dead dogs from exhaustion. But Haiming, after devouring 10 level 50 mutated beasts, had grown to 80 meters tall, and his 4-dimensional stats all broke the 400 mark. After the 3 returned to base, the people at the command center looked at the drone footage and were completely numb. Your clearing speed in 1 day was way faster than all the other bases combined. It even made the other students so sweaty they didn't dare to sleep, fearing they'd be left in the dust. Yang Xiao was also extremely satisfied. At this rate, the beast-tide threat could be solved in a month. Back at the dorm, Feng Ye and the others looked at your contribution points with total saltiness. Everyone started school together, yet now you can solo 5th awakening missions, while they were still hovering at the 2nd awakening. The gap was simply despair-inducing. You ignored their shock, and directly spent contribution points to exchange for 10 life crystals. When the logistics department saw it was your application, they approved it instantly. Since you're now a VIP, even if you wanted to empty the base, the higher-ups would probably agree. After obtaining the crystals, you directly chose to absorb them. Your level instantly broke through to level 20. Without hesitation, you clicked on the 2nd awakening mission. Instantly, you were teleported to a strange world as a transparent system box popped up. This is a world invaded by the corrupted race. They enslaved everything and continue to multiply and grow here. Mission: slay the corrupted. Reminder: you cannot actively return to Blue Star. You walked to the edge of the cliff and looked down, seeing a group of gray, 2-legged, corrupted, enslaving, scrawny humans using their labor to water fruit trees. Seeing your own kind being kept like livestock, you felt a surge of rage rush to your head. Silver armor instantly covered your entire body. You jumped directly from the 100-meter cliff. 2 corrupted were still chatting. The next second, you blew their heads off with a single punch. The rest of the corrupted realized what was happening and tried to swarm you, only to find their weapons couldn't even scratch your defense. You were like a human Tyrannosaurus Rex, holding a 13-ton combat halberd, slashing wildly through the mob of monsters. Limbs and broken wings flew wherever you went. Within moments, 80 corrupted were slaughtered clean. You looked up at the sky and noticed a giant gray eye staring fixedly at you. You knew your location had been exposed. At that moment, a little girl ran over tremblingly and asked you, "Are you a god? Can you save me?" Looking at her scars and pleading eyes, your killing intent skyrocketed. You patted her head and promised that not a single corrupted would be left alive by the end of the day. Sensing your rage, Haiming was also summoned out. To be safe, you decided to upgrade Haiming again and clicked Confirm Evolution. The terrifying light of evolution shot into the sky, directly shattering the eye in the clouds. After evolving, Haiming's size exceeded 200 meters. All attributes jumped by 90 points, and his talents were all buffed. Especially his fire, which upgraded to Sky Flame, capable of merging power into a unique domain. You told the little girl to hide well while you and Haiming took the initiative to meet the enemy. 10 minutes later, dense crowds of corrupted appeared on the horizon. The army numbered in the thousands, led by 10-level 55 5-ring corrupted. This difficulty would make any second awakening rookie despair, but with cold eyes you ordered Haiming, "Leave no survivors." Haiming roared and instantly transformed into a giant beast, unfolding his pitch-black flame domain like a world-ending demon god. That terrifying pressure made thousands of corrupted go weak in the knees on the spot. The leading 5-ring corrupted still tried to resist, only to see a giant claw that blotted out the sun come crashing down. The earth split instantly. Whether they were grunts or leaders, they were all turned into meat paste by this single strike. The ground for hundreds of meters cracked immediately. The pitch-black flames exploded across thousands of meters, engulfing countless corrupted within them. Not only were their bodies burned, but their life essence was also being rapidly drained. In just a few seconds, a large portion of the weaker corrupted turned to ash. The leading 5-ring corrupted Loyalis was horrified. This kind of life-burning power was impossible to heal. Seeing this, the other 9 leaders combined their ultimate skills to attack, but they were easily blocked by Haiming's golden light shield. Haiming countered with a massive palm swipe that covered the sky. Loyalis tried to flee upon seeing this, but suddenly locked eyes with a pair of vertical pupils containing endless death intent. That was the A-rank talent. Death pupils. With a gaze that felt like an eternity, Loyalis was instantly frozen in midair. He watched helplessly as that mountain-like giant palm crashed down. The earth collapsed, and dust billowed. This 5-ring powerhouse was instantly flattened. The remaining leaders were scared out of their wits and immediately scattered to escape. But under the lock-on of the death pupils, one by one they were frozen in place like flies, before being overtaken by Haiming and torn into fragments, their bodies instantly turning to ash. You didn't stay idle either, charging into the monster horde with your halberd, every strike accompanied by the sound of exploding dreams. 100-meter radius around you quickly became a scene from hell, until Haiming's eyes began to bleed, and he could no longer withstand the backlash of the death intent. Only then did he stop using the pupils. After clearing the battlefield, you led Haiming straight to the corrupted royal city. There, a level 59 son of the Demon King, Layates, who was nearing 6-ring strength, was waiting for you. Upon reaching the inner city, he unfurled his ancient black wings. The radiating aura of corruption made the very sky change color. You immediately used gigantification on Haiming. Haiming's size exploded instantly, transforming into a world-destroying beast. Layates gave a contemptuous smile, condensing a terrifying demonic blade in his hand, carrying a world-shattering momentum. He slashed down directly at Haiming's head. Haiming's Vajra body was instantly damaged, but he actually used both palms to firmly grab the demonic blade, letting the dark gold blood flow freely, fighting to the death without retreating. Then he roared at the sky as the pitch-black flames expanded instantly. After the fusion of his triple talents over thousands of years, the heaven-refining death prison domain unfolded. Within this domain, all things are defined as dead. Layates was horrified to find his life force rapidly draining away. Just as he wanted to counterattack, he was slapped into the ground by Haiming. In a fit of shame and rage, Layates activated his demonized form and triggered the city protection array. Instantly, countless black shackles dozens of meters wide reached out from the void, firmly binding Haiming, attempting to assimilate him into a puppet. Seeing this, you charged directly into the enemy's rear lines. Your silver armor was exceptionally piercing amidst the black monster horde. Facing the swarm of corrupted, you didn't retreat a single step, letting countless attacks clank harmlessly against your armor. The halberd in your hand harvested lives frantically, killing until the corrupted retreated in terror, causing the array to collapse instantly. Without the array's suppression, Hai Ming immediately broke free from the shackles, unleashing his undying power. Lai Yates had exhausted all his life-saving trump cards. He turned to flee, but was swatted down by Hai Ming's claw. The massive claw, dozens of meters wide, was like a falling meteor, smashing into the plaza as surrounding buildings began to collapse. With this, the peerless son of the Demon King had completely fallen. After the battle, you broke into the depths of the palace and dragged out a trembling, corrupted priest. Under your interrogation, he gave up the location of a world teleportation array that could hold 1,000 people. To rescue your compatriots, you forced him to activate a sky castle. 2 hours later, a massive shadow loomed over the plantation. The little girl from before walked out tremblingly, thinking a monster had arrived. Until she saw you descending from the sky, then she shouted excitedly. Following that, you led her and the other hundreds of survivors onto the sky castle. In this moment, in the eyes of these desperate compatriots, you in your silver armor were the only true god. Facing the survivors' gazes of divine reverence, the girl called Xiao Yue asked with a trembling voice, "Are you really an immortal?" You didn't admit it, only looking gently at these compatriots who were barely surviving in the darkness and said, "I will take you away to a world filled with light." Hearing these words, the dead embers in everyone's eyes finally reignited. Then you led hundreds of people onto the sky castle, heading straight for the teleportation formation in the royal palace. With the assistance of the corrupted priest, you locked onto the coordinates of Blue Star. As the teleportation formation activated, you returned to Blue Star. Immediately, the system's voice rang in your ears. Battle ended. Total kills, 56,000 corrupted. Crushed the 6-ring throne, perfect evaluation. Your buff and recovery spells were massively enhanced. Most importantly, summoning promoted to divine summoning. The next summon is guaranteed to be a divine tier creature. Back at the dorm, you checked your phone. News of the survivors from the other world had already gone viral. Seeing those reborn compatriots in the news, your tense nerves finally relaxed. In this battle, you didn't just clear the dungeon. You defended the bottom line of your people. Then, carrying a body full of fatigue and glory, you fell into a deep sleep. Upon waking up, you found Feng Ye and the others with bloodshot eyes, staring at you through gritted teeth. It turns out because you were too OP, the students from other academies started grinding like crazy, even developing a 4-man sleep rotation to farm missions. Infected by this anxiety, Feng Ye and the others couldn't even eat breakfast. They roared and charged out to continue grinding mobs. Seeing this, you smiled, turned around, and went into the base to accept a mission to kill a level 59 dark gold violent bear, as well as a 6th awakening thunder behemoth mission. At this moment, the female soldier and the command center staff were completely dumbfounded. 6th awakening missions are the territory of mentors. How does a freshman dare? An hour later, you rode Hai Ming into the depths of the mountains. The level 59 dark gold violent bear sensed danger. Its massive 600-meter body stood up with a crash. Without a word, Hai Ming's size exploded instantly. He charged toward this violent bear. Both sides immediately locked in a life-and-death struggle. Even though the violent bear activated its sharp airflow, it was still firmly suppressed by Hai Ming. Seeing that Hai Ming was about to disembowel it, the violent bear finally couldn't take it anymore. It turned, smashed through hundreds of meters of forest, and fled frantically. As it ran, it let out a piercing howl, and the response was a clap of thunder that echoed for 100 miles. An undying berserk bear, wreathed in blue lightning, stepped onto the earth. This was a level 62 king-tier behemoth. The moment he appeared, the sky was instantly covered in dark clouds, forming a terrifying thunderstorm vortex. As if doomsday had arrived, the great battle broke out instantly. Hai Ming immediately activated the fused version of Heaven-Refining Death Prison. Black gold divine runes glowed as he clashed head-on with the berserk bear's lightning domain. The collision of the two giant beasts caused the earth to shatter frantically. Heavenly lightning kept striking from above, but Hai Ming didn't dodge. He tanked the lightning with his physical body. fighting to the death without retreating. Seeing that his attack was failing, the berserk bear ordered his subordinate to ambush you. The heavily injured dark gold violent bear received the order, and with a cruel expression it charged frantically toward you. Just as you were preparing a strategic retreat, a sonic boom suddenly echoed from the distance. Amidst the rolling dust, the beautiful mentor Ji Fei arrived at full speed, wielding a 4-meter great halberd. "Go to hell for me!" She leaped high into the air. The halberd, carrying a red aura of blood and energy, stood upright. She slammed it down hard on the dark gold violent bear's skull, which collapsed instantly. Without even letting out a scream, it was smashed into the ground. Ji Fei shouldered her halberd and gave a charming smile. "So, was teacher's rescue touching or what?" Looking at that violent scene, only 3 words came to your mind. Female T-Rex. Seeing you were safe, Hai Ming no longer had any lingering concerns. He stopped holding, back and fought the undying berserk bear to a fever pitch. The berserk bear roared, channeling lightning elements within a 10,000-meter range, to converge into a world-ending pillar of light. The brilliant blue light consumed everything. The earth evaporated instantly. A 300-meter deep sinkhole appeared where Hai Ming stood. The berserk bear panted, thinking it was over, only to see Hai Ming still standing in the pit, divine runes glowing intensely as he stepped out, pinning the exhausted berserk bear to the ground, tearing it to pieces, claw by claw. Watching this, the command center instantly boiled over. A level 20 body reversing a fight against a level 62 king beast. This wolf is practically a god. Yang Xiao even wiped away a tear in shock. He hadn't mastered a fused domain after a year of training. Yet your Hai Ming learned it at 6 months old. Talk about soul-crushing. After the battle, you tallied the loot, and your rank shot to 3rd in the base. Returning to the dorm, you ran into your former challenger, Xiao Yunshu. He crawled back covered in blood to hand in a mission, only to be hit with pure sorrow upon seeing your skyrocketing points. He crawled back to the mountains, crying to keep grinding. You ignored these interludes. Opening the safe sent by the commander, 6 types of top-tier summoning materials were neatly arranged inside, including divine items worth tens of millions. Without hesitation, you initiated the 3rd summoning. This time, buffed by divine summoning, your heart was full of anticipation. As the golden light of the array erupted, a creature the size of an arm, with twin wings on its back, slowly appeared before your eyes. As the light faded, the one walking out of the array was actually a dying infant angel, looking as if he'd just survived a genocide. The angel race, supreme beings of legend who had never once responded to a summons. Seeing this, you didn't hesitate at all, stepping forward and gently placing a finger on his forehead. "Let's work together and reach godhood." As the soul-tearing pain of the contract was finalized, congratulations, summoned object awakened, unique talent, sun-moon rotation, SSS. A vast power lifted the little angel, left eye like the sun, right eye like the moon. "I am Diana." You checked the panel, and were nearly blinded by the stats. All attributes at 250, with magic power as high as 450, SSS tier talent. Sun, moon rotation, involves the laws of time, SSS tier. Divine runes boost power by 500%, and provide a 50% attribute divine blessing to teammates. Just as you were immersed in joy, a crisis had quietly arrived. A human trader who had been bought off used a god-luring charm to sneak into the depths of the mountains, opening a spatial portal through a sacrifice. 104-ring and 5-ring corrupted with cruel smiles were stepping into the human rear. They had only one mission this time: hunt down all geniuses. The command center instantly fell into chaos. Since even the strongest commander Yang Xiao was heavily injured, these corrupted were entering like it was no man's land. At the perimeter of the mountains, Senior Xu Yuansheng's 4th-year squad was the first to encounter an elite level 51 corrupted. The strength gap was massive. Xu Yuansheng fought desperately. His armor was smashed to bits, and in seconds, he was stepped on by the corrupted. Just as the squad was about to be wiped out, a lightning-fast figure entered the fray, your former teammate, Qing Kong. After the past few days of training, his combat power had exploded. With Ye Kexi's support and Wang Yao's tanking, the trio instantly decapitated the corrupted. This is the true value of Yunkai Academy's top combatants. On the other side, you had just arrived deep in a mountain range. A level 56 female corrupted with a seductive figure was secretly observing him, licking her lips as she said, "I'm definitely claiming you as my toy." She then released a sky full of black threads, charging toward you to try and play you like a puppet. However, Haiming had already sensed her presence and slowly raised his head. With just a brief glance from Haiming, the female corrupted was dragged into an endless abyss of fear. In that space of consciousness, she could only watch helplessly as that giant beast stomped down on her. Back in reality, Haiming's palm slammed down. The female corrupted's dull eyes snapped back to focus, and she was scared out of her wits, desperately fleeing in the opposite direction. Too terrifying! That thing isn't even a living creature. But you had no intention of letting her go. Chase her. Make sure she's dead. Receiving the command, Haiming instantly bolted out. With extreme speed, Haiming caught up to the female corrupted and raised a palm high. Accompanied by the earth's tremors, this arrogant beauty was swatted into non-existence. A moment later, Haiming returned with the loot in his mouth. What came into view was a total of 100 grade 5 life crystals. After Haiming devoured them, his evolution value exploded. You knew that more and more corrupted were currently hunting your comrades. Since you had the protection of the angel Diana, you decided to stop holding back. You immediately waved at the drone in the sky, telling it to guide you to the corrupted's positions. Everyone in the command center was stunned. A female commander's face was filled with shock. He actually wants to split his forces to hunt? He's letting Haiming clear the battlefield alone! Meanwhile, receiving the orders, a hint of excitement flashed in Haiming's eyes. He instantly surged forward, and even the drone couldn't keep up with his speed. Officer Shu looked at the screen and sighed. At this growth rate, in a year, the human race might birth its 9th guardian god. But what he didn't know was that current Haiming was not just invincible among those of the same level, but was an absolute force capable of crushing those 2 major realms above him. On the other side, hundreds of kilometers away, 15 third-year students were being hunted by 4-ring corrupted. In their moment of despair, a loud crash was heard as a terrifying 100-meter-tall black wolf smashed through the forest and charged into the battlefield. The ferocious and tyrannical aura caused the corrupted to tremble with fear. They thought it was a passing beast king and turned to run, but Haiming's target was precisely them. Pitch-black flames instantly covered hundreds of meters. Haiming swatted them like flies, one by one, turning these once arrogant corrupted into meat paste. The entire process took less than 10 seconds. The group of students who were supposed to die were dumbfounded. At this moment, a male student recognized the summon. Is this the summon of that freshman, Chen Tiansheng? Since when is a freshman more cracked than a senior? The scene shifted. Deeper in the mountains, the battle was even more brutal. To cover the students' retreat, the beautiful mentor Ji Fei blocked 5 level 55 corrupted by herself. Holding her halberd with blood energy like a dragon, she suppressed the 5 corrupted and shouted, "You want to mess with my students? You're looking for death." But the corrupted were cunning veterans after all. One deliberately showed a weakness, and at the moment Ji Fei's burst ended, he downed a throne potion. His aura instantly climbed to the 6-ring level. With a strike of his black spear, he sent Ji Fei crashing to the ground. "Become my slave!" The corrupted laughed as he slowly approached Ji Fei. Just at this critical moment, a silver war spear descended from the heavens, stabbing into the ground right before the corrupted's feet. Clad in silver armor, you arrived at the battlefield radiating pure killing intent. Facing a powerful enemy with 6-ring strength, you knew you were no match. But you didn't panic at all. "Come forth, Diana." Following your summon, a palm-sized little angel appeared out of thin air. The divine aura left the corrupted stunned. After a momentary daze, he burst into a wild laugh. "An infant angel? Thanks for the huge gift." He greedily attempted to corrupt this supreme being. However, what he didn't know was that this infant angel had just awakened an SSS rank talent. Looking at these familiar invaders, Diana's golden eyes ignited with rage. She flew high into the sky as the great sun vision in her eyes instantly erupted. A massive, radiant, great sun emerged behind her, hanging in the sky. The terrifying golden light dispelled all darkness. Within that light, Diana's body instantly grew into her adult form, tall, peerless, and majestic. At this very moment, she was no longer that little cutie who only knew how to act adorable, but the divine queen representing absolute judgment. The wild joy on the corrupted's face instantly froze. He discovered in horror that before this great sun, the power of corruption inside him was melting like snow. As the radiant sun rose behind Diana, the terrifying golden light instantly turned the battlefield into a divine domain. The corrupted's prideful power melted away, and their souls felt as if they were in purgatory. The corrupted were completely shocked. How is this an infant angel? This is clearly a deity in control of the great sun. He immediately transformed into a giant black serpent, soaring into the sky, attempting to shoot Diana down. But the goddess merely raised her hand coldly, and countless scorching light spots fell like a rainstorm. The six-ring corrupted was instantly riddled with holes, before crashing heavily into the ground. The other corrupted were even more fragile, struck by the light spots until they wailed in agony. On the side, Jifei, Qingkong, and the others found their injuries rapidly healing under the protection of the divine radiance. The tide of battle turned instantly. At this moment, a cultist who had been lurking finally prepared to strike, lunging toward you in a sudden assassination attempt. Diana's eyes turned cold. The great sun behind her slowly collapsed, replaced by a cold, clear, full moon. The world instantly went dark. Her silver hair fluttered as she stood like a lonely, proud moon goddess. Dark red ring blades manifested around her. With a cold command, the ring blades tore through the air, ignoring all defenses, and instantly shredded the cultist on the spot. This is the horror of the SSS rank talent. Sun-moon rotation. The sun for judgment, the moon for annihilation. The six-ring corrupted was now in despair. 2 summons capable of fighting 30 levels above their rank? This is just unfair. To snuff you out, a future major threat, he took out his final trump card, the summoning wheel. Today you die right here! As the wheel spun, a pitch-black summoning array rose from nothing. A gray, corrupted over 10 meters tall, slowly stepped out. That was a true throne-level powerhouse. A terrifying pressure instantly swept the field, plunging everyone into deep despair. Just as you were preparing for a desperate last stand, a hand was placed on your shoulder. I've been waiting for this alien throne level for a long time. You turned your head to see Commander Yang Xiao. Looking toward the Hengshan base, an even more terrifying aura came shattering through the heavens. The human race's breaking heaven throne, Zhang Jue, has descended. The alien throne instantly realized he had fallen into a trap. Zhang Jue, you're not guarding the front line? Aren't you afraid the defense will be breached? Zhang Jue looked indifferent. Not until I've killed you. The 2 thrones instantly clashed in the void. The aftershocks made the earth tremble. Only now did Yang Xiao reveal the truth of this setup to you. The so-called cleanup was real, but the human high command played along, using geniuses as bait. Not only to flush out hidden cultists and elite corrupted, but specifically to trap and kill an alien throne. This was a massive gamble with human lives as the stakes. Yang Xiao looked into your eyes. Are you disappointed? You looked at the 2 world-destroying figures in the sky and shook your head. In this situation, hard choices must be made. Yang Xiao smiled, because the throne who proposed this plan had said the exact same thing back then. After the battle ended quickly, Hai Ming ran back looking a bit disappointed because he didn't find a big meal. Yang Xiao looked at this monster that mastered domain fusion at level 20 and gave a high evaluation. As long as his level is sufficient, he'll hit Heavenly King rank without any obstacles. But he also reminded you not to level up blindly. If he loses his cross-tier combat power, he'd just be an ordinary summon. You took this to heart, deciding to pursue the I want it all policy. Levels come from XP, but all life crystals go to Hai Ming. At that moment, a stream of light fell from the sky. Diana transformed into her beautiful angel form and bowed to you. Not far away, a man came walking through the void. It was Zhang Jue, who had just thrashed the alien throne. A mere alien throne? I can suppress them with a casual wave of my hand. Though he acted tough, he had been severely eroded by the power of corruption. Diana tried to treat him with divine radiance, but because the level gap was too large, it could only serve to alleviate the symptoms. Curious, Zhang Jue wanted to ride Hai Ming on the side, but Hai Ming dodged him with a look of disgust. This throne instantly felt slighted. I've made so many contributions to the human race, yet I can't even ride a wolf? In the end, he could only fly back to the base in a huff. Back at the base, you met your heavily injured roommates. Feng Ye sighed. If it wasn't for the AA gun support, we'd probably all be dead. He looked at you with loneliness in his eyes. Chen Tiansheng, the gap between us is so huge. You realize the brutality of the frontline battlefield. To give you more backing, Zhang Juk and Yang Xiao made a grand gesture, gifting you 700 life crystals. This is how the human race treats geniuses. If you dare to show your blade, they dare to give you the best. After getting the resources, Yang Xiao made a request. He wanted He Ming to share some experience on domain control. This was crucial for them to break through the 10th awakening. As a result, He Ming's answer left the throne depressed on the spot. He Ming said he learned it just by looking at it once. Yang Xiao's mouth twitched. What about physical fusion? That's a heavenly king-tier requirement. You hesitated for a moment, but still told the truth. He says he doesn't even need to look. He just does it naturally. This time Yang Xiao completely broke down, clutching his chest as he looked into the distance. Later, you took He Ming back to the mountains and took out the mountain of life crystals. He Ming excitedly opened his mouth to feast. As the black flames burned, his evolution value skyrocketed by over 1,700 points. His size grew another 5 meters, and all attributes broke the 500 mark. Looking at the terrifying data on the panel, you decided to go deeper into the mountains. This time, not for a mission, but just to let this world-ending beast eat his fill. Under the joint efforts of He Ming and Diana, the mutated beasts above level 50 in the Balian Mountains were wiped clean. After devouring a massive amount of life crystals, He Ming's size jumped by 15 meters. His base attributes increased by 30 points. And after gigantification, he completely crushed his past self. Seeing this terrifying growth speed, you couldn't help but admire the value of SSS rank talents. Back at the base, Yang Xiao told you the Balian Mountain crisis was solved, but the situation at Wushan base was critical. Countless mutated beasts, under the command of a level 69 Dark-Horned behemoth, began to gather, preparing to attack the city from 4 directions simultaneously. This wasn't just a riot. It was a calculated war. You accepted the reinforcement mission without hesitation. Yang Xiao nodded with relief. It's even more dangerous there. Are you not afraid of tens of thousands of mutated beasts? You shook your head. It's fine, they will protect me. Before leaving, Yang Xiao took you to the underground warehouse. There were top-tier resources brought from the front line. 5 precious level 7 life crystals, and over 100 rare crystals with special attributes. You didn't hold back, summoning the silver butterfly armor and starting a frantic fusion. As 30 black gold stones and steel-breaking stones merged, the armor's weight soared to 163 tons, its sharpness trait stacked to a terrifying 10 layers. Even better, you pulled lava and size manipulation as 2 new traits. Now the silver butterfly isn't just defense. It's an all-in-one killing machine. Geared up, you arrived at Wushan base with the main force. Top students from various academies gathered here. They were all bloodshot and radiating killing intent, clearly triggered by your previous grind. That guy, Xiao Yunshu, was staring daggers at you, his eyes screaming his obsession with surpassing you this time. At the briefing, the commander initiated the tail-cutting plan, splitting everyone into 8 groups to intercept isolated beast hordes and reduce the pressure on the defensive line. Chen Tiansheng, you will operate solo. Yang Xiao's words made the whole room stare. The other students were shocked. Even mentors had to squad up. How can he be a solo player? But you remained calm and accepted the arrangement. As the mission started, 16 fighter jets roared into the sky, while you simply summoned the giant wolf He Ming to shatter the earth and leaped directly over the base's high walls, leaving everyone in the dust under their shocked gazes. Yang Xiao watched your back with a mix of worry and high expectations. He even handed you life essence worth 100,000 contribution points, saying, "As long as you're not dead, drinking this will bring you back." In the mountains, He Ming sprinted, smashing through countless giant trees. You fed him all 5 of those level 7 life crystals. His evolution value instantly exploded by 1,500 points. He was just 1 step away from his next evolution, the angel. Diana also looked at the world with curiosity in the gale. 1 man, 1 wolf, and 1 angel. Like reapers passing through, heading for the upcoming crimson feast. Amidst the billowing dust of the mountains, 3 terrifying behemoths appeared, wreathed in a ferocious and tyrannical aura. Various powers flickered around them as the earth for 10,000 meters trembled. The scale was terrifying. The officers in the command center watching through the drones all had grim expressions. Facing the rolling wave of behemoths, Haiming didn't choose to ambush. He charged out directly and pulled all the aggro. A level 20 black wolf standing alone against 3 terrifying beasts over level 65. The officers in the command center were dumbfounded. Is this a suicide mission? Haiming immediately activated Heaven-Refining Death Prison. The domain expanded instantly. Hundreds of level 40 mutated beasts following the behemoths returned to ash in a second. Facing the pincer attack of the 3 behemoths, Haiming raised his paw and slapped them down one by one, pinning them to the ground. Before they disintegrated into nothingness, opponents that once required a life and death struggle were now just slightly larger ants in his eyes. Meanwhile, the sky was covered by a cold, full moon as Diana transformed into the moon goddess. 9 dark red ring blades danced around her. A level 54 golden eagle tried to ambush her, only to be instantly sliced in half by a ring blade. Facing the overwhelming swarm of flying beasts, Diana gave a cold wave of her hand. 4 ring blades crisscrossed and danced. A rain of foul-smelling blood began to fall from the sky. Countless mutated beasts couldn't even let out a scream before being sliced into neat little chunks. This wasn't even her limit. As the 9 ring blades merged into one, Diana entered her central annihilation form. The silver-white moon turned a terrifying deep red. A red light blade that could split the heavens slashed down. The level 65 centipede behemoth, along with its hardened carapace and armor, had its body instantly sliced into meat paste. A one-shot kill on a behemoth. This is the power of an SSS rank talent. In just a few minutes, 4 peerless behemoths had all fallen. Then Haiming devoured their life force, and his size exploded once again. 1 man, 1 wolf, and 1 angel actually cut off an entire path of destruction. The command center was deathly silent. Everyone was by this logic-defying strategy, shocked into speechlessness. However, the crisis was far from over. A distant, angry roar echoed from deep within the mountains. That level 69 dark-horn behemoth actually stirred up the beast tide. He commanded the swarm to split their attack, simultaneously pouncing on 5 cities. This was a scheme against the human race's defensive line, which instantly became overstretched. At this moment, the madman from Beilong Academy, Xiao Yunshu, was seeing red. Chen Tiansheng killed 1,000. Then I'll kill 1,000 too! Wreathed in black fluid, he charged into the beast tide like a demon god, forcing 1 army to a halt. But even more mutated beasts were closing in on the cities. At the critical moment, you made a crazy decision. Split the forces. Haiming to Yunhei City, to ensure the city holds its ground. Diana to intercept another route, while you personally rushed toward the nearest battlefield. Fighting on 3 fronts alone, you intended, by your own strength, to build a great wall of flesh and blood for 3 cities. In front of Wushan base, the battle had lasted for several hours. You instantly transformed into a silver god of war, holding your war spear. You blocked the impact of thousands of mutated beasts single-handedly. When you finally had that level 61 ferocious behemoth under your feet, with your spear pressed against its head, the entire land had been dyed crimson. The female mentor on the rampart stared at you blankly. Looking at that back, her heart raced. So cool. He must be a veteran from the front lines, right? On the other side of the mountains, a tragic epic of mortals was unfolding. King Kong looked at the last level 58 mutated beast rushing toward the city, his body too numb to move. But in his mind, the disaster from over a decade ago suddenly surfaced. The giant rock pressing down on his parents. The stone he couldn't move no matter how hard he tried. Can't give up. Can't let it pass. That rock he couldn't move in the past. This time I will definitely do it. Scales exploded around King Kong. He awakened the hidden class skill, life through death. He transformed into a streak of azure wind, instantly crossing the distance to catch up to the mutated beast. The sword in his hand became a blur. Die! When the mutated beast finally fell, King Kong collapsed unconscious, a smile of relief on his lips. I did it, Mom and Dad. At this moment, the true final showdown broke out at the most distant Yunhei city, a level 69 dark horn. Behemoth, wielding the dual powers of thunder and fire, led thousands of beasts to the city gates. The base's missiles and anti-aircraft guns hit its body, weren't even enough to count as a scratch. Just as everyone fell into despair, Giant Black Wolf stood before them. He was wreathed in pitch-black flames like an insurmountable natural disaster. The soldiers shouted excitedly, "That Black Wolf is so terrifying!" Is he helping us? The Dark Horn. Behemoth stopped in its tracks, its massive eyes filled with confusion and tyranny. Seeing this, Haiming activated heaven-refining death prison. Although the Darkhorn Behemoth had no domain, he possessed king-rank bloodline and dual mastery of thunder and fire at level 69. The two instantly collided, causing mountains to crumble and the earth to split. Haiming's divine runes shattered under the baptism of thunder and fire, and his physical body was beaten until his flesh was torn open. He was, after all, only level 20. Even with heaven-defying talent, he still remained at a disadvantage against such a top-tier behemoth. Watching the Darkhorn Behemoth try to bypass him to destroy the city, your command echoed in Haiming's mind, "Until you see a city, protect it well." He didn't understand why he had to protect humans, but in his eyes, everything except you was killable. But since you said it, then it was an absolute law. Haiming suddenly let out a tragic and extreme roar, making the most insane move. He forcibly fused the heaven-refining death prison. The death intent instantly backfired, corroding his physical body, as dark gold blood flowed out. Replacing it was a soaring black-red, annihilation demon fire and a tyrannical aura that made all things tremble. The Darkhorn Behemoth was afraid. It retreated in terror. Haiming turned into a streak of black-red lightning, instantly appearing before the Darkhorn Behemoth. With a swipe of his demonic claws, a single strike slammed this peerless behemoth into the ground. The annihilation demon fire burned frantically. The Darkhorn Behemoth let out a desperate hiss. Haiming crushed its head with one foot, his gray eyes containing only endless indifference. As the Darkhorn Behemoth turned to ash, Haiming's body also reached its limit. His massive body crashed to the ground. Death intent continued to erode his body. The greedy, mutated beasts nearby swarmed in, wanting to feast on this heavily injured Wolf King. The soldiers in the helicopters were desperate, trying frantically to rush over. "Hurry, don't let them succeed!" But the mutated beasts were too fast. Just as a giant snake opened its bloody maw to bite Haiming, two dark red ring blades sliced through the night sky, instantly cutting the giant snake into 3 segments. A full moon hung high in the sky as Diana unfurled her wings, descending like a moon goddess. "Approach and die!" The 9 annihilation ring blades danced under the moonlight like the Reaper's scythes. In an instant, dozens of mutated beasts were sliced into pieces. After slaughtering all enemies, Diana put away her killing intent and landed beside Haiming. She used her remaining divine power to heal Haiming, but the injuries were too severe and the effect was minimal. Just then, the helicopter landed, and a soldier came running with a potion. Panting, he shouted, "Lady Angel! These are recovery potions to treat Haiming." Diana nodded, took the potions and walked to the dying Haiming, her voice crisp yet unquestionable. "Haiming, open up!" The battle ended, and you deactivated your armor, boarding a jet to Yunhei City. There, Haiming was on the brink of death. The price for forcibly fusing the heaven-refining death prison was too heavy. Death intent was grinding away his physical body. Even though you fed him life essence worth 100,000, it could only sustain his last breath. The only hope was evolution. Only the autonomous evolution power of greedy gluttony could wash away this terrifying death intent. But he was still short 1,000 evolution points. Devouring low-level crystals simply wouldn't be fast enough. At this moment, you called Yang Xiao. Without a second thought, the commander invoked his highest authority to transfer 5 grade 7 life crystals from the front lines. While waiting for the supplies, the battle videos from the Wushan Mountains exploded across the internet. In the first video, you transformed into a 40-meter silver armor war god, holding a single spear and blocking the beast tide until the corpses piled up. "This guy is so strong, killing mutated beasts like slicing veggies. One man guarding a city alone. This is way too cool." The second video was even more explosive, Haiming as a demon wolf tanking the dual-element thunder and fire Darkhorn Behemoth. That world-shattering battle scene made countless people's scalps tingle. Your younger sister, Chen Li, watching TV at home, jumped up in excitement. "Mom! Look, it's brothers Haiming."
Oh my god, how did he get so big?
When they saw Haiming being smashed into the ground, only to ignite the black-red demon fire for a desperate counterattack, every viewer's heart was in their throat. This wolf was putting his life on the line to protect the city. A day later, a blue fighter jet landed. 5 grade 7 crystals radiating a thick aura of life were placed into your hands. You didn't hesitate and fed them all to Haiming. The system panel popped up. You immediately clicked confirm. As you pressed confirm, the long-accumulated evolution power erupted like a volcano. A beam of pitch-black light, hundreds of meters in diameter, pierced through the firmament. He Ming snapped his eyes open. That source aura belonging to greed and gluttony instantly swept through heaven and earth. The death intent was instantly snuffed out, and his body was recast within the light pillar. This time, he would truly step into a new level of existence. Under the baptism of the Grade 7 life crystals, He Ming's evolution lasted for hours. When the light pillar dissipated, a terrifying demon wolf appeared in the world. This evolution was a qualitative leap. All attributes doubled, breaking the 700 mark. Gained new talent, heaven-destroying thunder. Gigantification, promoted to divine transformation. Even the most ordinary flame talent, upgraded to heavenly flame. This former little black dog had now truly grown into a world-scorning beast with zero weaknesses. Afterwards, He Ming shrunk his size, wanting to pounce into your arms to act cute. The result was a gentle pounce that sent you, without your armor on, straight to the ground, nearly making you cough up a mouthful of blood. You frowned slightly. "You little rascal." He Ming whimpered aggrievedly. He didn't realize that with his current divine body, even when shrunken, he still possessed terrifying density and power. Subsequently, you bid farewell to Wushan Base, taking He Ming and Diana to start a frantic clearing journey. In just 1 month, you single-handedly swept through a total of 12 mountain ranges. The scene shifts. In the Xianlian Mountains, He Ming activated his mythic form, compressing his size to 3 meters. Although he looked small, his power and explosiveness increased exponentially. As the purple-black heaven-destroying thunder exploded at the tips of his claws, a level 68 venomous lizard didn't even have time to react before its body was shredded by a single claw. This is the sheer pressure of 7th Awakening combat power. If he activated the quadruple talent fusion domain, even a behemoth above level 80 would have to face He Ming head-on. The officers at headquarters watched the figure on the screen, flattening everything in his path, shocked into numbness. Is he even human? One guy is doing the work of an entire legion. Your contribution points also skyrocketed to 245,000 during this slaughter feast, firmly securing your spot as the #1 freshman. You were even judged by the Apocalypse system to have frontline battlefield-level power, directly receiving a 100,000 special contribution reward. Returning to Wushan Base, you exchanged for a large amount of low-level life crystals. Not for He Ming, but to level up yourself and Diana. As the crystals shattered, your entire team reached level 30. Diana, this little angel, truly lived up to being a top-tier summon. Her magic attribute soared to 800 points, directly surpassing He Ming. She's already showing the prototype of a magical turret. Meanwhile, He Ming entered his level growth phase, gaining 150 attribute points per level. Only Silver Butterfly, after leveling up, gained a mere 1 point to all attributes. Looking at that steady-as-an-old-dog system panel, you fell into deep thought. My summons have a glass cannon. Fortunately, his armor form remains top-tier. With trait buffs, he is still your most solid defense. After resting, you stood once again at the turning point of fate and opened the system panel. Reached level 30, opening the 3rd Awakening mission. Entering suitable class advancement dungeon based on your comprehensive index. As the system notification finished, your figure vanished from the spot. This time, what awaits you is a broader and more brutal world. 3rd Awakening mission starts. You were teleported to a world on the brink of destruction. Coordinates 00863. Mission: eliminate the source. There is no sunlight here, only ominous mist and twisted black plants. Just after landing, you saw a pale, grayish woman sitting on the ruins, staring at you with blood-red eyes, letting out a spine-chilling voice. "Hello there." Your expression remained cold as you softly called out, "Hey Yun." With a flash of white light, the black wolf instantly appeared in mid-air. Claws showing no mercy, he swiped down, and the monster hiding in the shadows died instantly. In the ruins, the woman fell to the ground in terror. You walked closer, step by step, looking down at her. Under the fear of being dominated by you, the woman pointed out the gathering place of the mutated monsters. You coldly gave the order, "Hey Yun." Immediately, pitch-black flames engulfed the entire street block. In the city's abandoned park, the last remaining human squad had fallen into a desperate situation. Facing countless monsters, Captain Ling Yuan looked at his injured comrades, his eyes full of despair. "Push forward!" he roared. preparing to use his body of flesh and blood to buy time for his teammates, even though he knew it was utterly pointless.
I simply can't carry.
The last hope. Just as he was ready to die, a silver figure crashed into the battlefield. You walked out slowly with He Ming. The monsters that treated humans as food instantly turned their aggression toward He Ming. Claws swinging, he instantly shredded a 4-meter-tall monster into pieces. But the monsters kept swarming and even larger shadows began to emerge. You stopped holding back and summoned the silver butterfly armor. Amidst a burst of fluorescence, the silver war god descended. The war spear in your hand expanded and swept out. With just one strike, the monsters were wiped from existence before they could even let out a scream. The blade in Ling Yuan's hand fell to the ground with a clang. He was completely dazed. Is this a god? Battle over. You deactivated the armor. Ling Yuan walked forward trembling and told you the source of the mist was in the former capital, where countless terrifying behemoths lurked. My lord, what are you going to the capital for? Your tone was flat. To resolve the mist. Those 4 simple words shook the hearts of all survivors. Ling Yuan excitedly pulled out a city map. My lord, we can go together, even if we can only help a little bit. You glanced at them and ruthlessly refused. You didn't need burdens. They would only slow you down. Then He Ming shattered the earth, carrying you off like a streak of black lightning, rushing toward the capital known as the Forbidden Zone. On the way to the capital, He Ming showed exactly what a bulldozer looks like. Facing a behemoth blocking the road, He Ming didn't even bother getting close. He simply opened his maw, and pitch-black flames were frantically compressed, condensing into a massive, stable fireball several hundred meters wide. The moment the nuke hit, every building and creature within thousands of meters was leveled to the ground, leaving behind only a scorched vacuum zone. That arrogant monster didn't even have ashes left. Before long, you arrived at the capital. The gray mist here was so thick it was almost solid. Diana frowned. The aura here was suppressing her divine power. However, you did not retreat and continued deeper. The roars of monsters echoed everywhere, as countless massive dark shadows wandered through the mist. Diana flew into the high sky, golden light flashing in her eyes. Since divine was suppressed, then used the sun instead, then a radiant sun rose. Diana transformed into a majestic sun goddess. The blazing golden light instantly pierced through the gray mist, illuminating this dead city. The monsters hiding in the darkness naturally let out shrill wails as their souls burned under the golden light. But this was only the prelude. Beneath a pitch-black lake in the city center, a true horror awakened. A roar swept through the city as the lake water exploded, and an old one evil god, Catan broke through the surface. It was covered in blood-red eyes and tentacles, radiating a maddening, ominous aura. With its appearance, monsters across the city roared and surged toward you. You immediately ordered, He Ming, kill it! Then He Ming let out a tyrannical roar, instantly activating his ultimate form. 4 types of skills were activated simultaneously. Quadruple talent fusion, the heaven-shaking purgatory. Thunder Law caused the earth to shatter instantly. Terrifying suppression force, mixed with purple destruction energy, smashed down on Ctanlua like the sky falling. This evil god was instantly pinned down into the lake. Ctanlua was pushed to the limit. The gray mark on its forehead erupted, forcibly boosting its combat power to level 80. It swung a withered giant claw to stab at He Ming. But He Ming didn't dodge. Golden light flowed across his body instantly, releasing an absolute defense. Following that, death intent erupted from He Ming's pupils as death pupils activated within range, instantly transforming the area into a gray zone of death. Ctanlua discovered in horror that its life source was being forcibly erased. The immortal body it took pride in was a joke before these eyes. In the face of absolute power, the so-called Great Old One was nothing more than a stepping stone on He Ming's path to evolution. You and He Ming teamed up to easily clear the third awakening mission. After leaving Wushan base, you rode He Ming and galloped all the way back. Finally returning to your familiar neighborhood, you saw a banner at the entrance. Warmly celebrating student Chen Tiansheng for winning the provincial scholar title. A long-lost warmth welled up in your heart. Outside, you were a monarch killing through an alien world. Here, you were just Chen Tiansheng. Just as you reached your front door, you heard a girl's excited scream from inside. So cool! Too cool! You pushed the door open to see your sister, Chen Li, sitting on the sofa with zero poise, staring at the silver-armored figure on the TV news. Her eyes were full of stars. Chen Li watched while waving her fists. From now on, there's no room for Chen Tiansheng in my heart. This silver-armored Alpa is my new idol. Standing to the side, your mouth twitched slightly. You coughed twice. Hearing the noise, your sister Chen Li snapped her head around and saw it was you. The fangirl look on Chen Li's face instantly turned to anger. Brother, you finally decided to come back? I sent you so many messages and you didn't reply to one. You didn't pick up your phone either. Are you trying to worry Mom to death? You looked at yourself on the TV, currently slaughtering enemies in all directions, and couldn't help but smile. Is there a possibility that I'm actually a bit stronger than him? Chen Li rolled her eyes hard. Keep bragging. That guy defended a whole city by himself. He's a god. You should just stick to being a regular summoner. Oh, really? You gave a playful look and snapped your fingers. Lei Ming, come out and meet our guest. And Diana, come out too. After a sound, space fluctuated. A shrunken but still imposing black wolf appeared out of thin air. Immediately after, a peerless and holy angel slowly descended, her golden wings shining brilliantly in the living room. The air suddenly went quiet. Chen Li's eyes grew wider and wider, her mouth hanging open wide enough to fit an egg. Chen Li pointed at He Ming and then at the TV with a trembling hand, completely stunned. This look, it's exactly the same as the one on TV. With a thought, Yin Di turned into a stream of light covering your body. That familiar silver armor appeared before her eyes. You looked at your petrified sister and smiled. Let's reintroduce ourselves. I am that idol you just mentioned who you didn't want to be your brother. Chen Li lunged at you, hugging and pinching you. Brother? Is it really you? My idol is actually my own brother? This intense contrast and surprise made the young girl go completely wild. At that moment, the kitchen door was pushed open. Mom ran out looking panicked. What happened? What happened? Is it an earthquake? When she saw you in silver armor, and those two mythical creatures in the room, the spatula in her hand fell to the ground with a clang. Tiansheng! This dinner was destined to be the liveliest one in the house. You didn't talk much about the dangers of the battle, but simply took out a bag of low-level life crystals that looked like jelly beans and handed them to Chen Li. Absorb these. They should help you awaken a decent talent. Looking at these priceless resources, Chen Li's eyes turned red. Brother, this must be very expensive. You patted her head. Use them without worry. Your brother is now rich enough to rival a nation. Late at night, looking at the sleeping faces of your family, you stood on the balcony with He Ming lying at your feet, gazing out at the crisis-ridden world. Getting stronger is exactly for protecting these thousands of homes. The next day, you opened the system panel and entered the frontline exchange list. The resources here were so abundant they made your head spin. Level 9 life crystals, rare skill books, and so on. Like a newly rich tycoon, you started a shopping spree. 50 lava stones to enhance Yin Di's lava trait, making the armor even more terrifying. 50 Ruyi crystals to stack the size manipulation trait to 10 layers, allowing the war spear to extend and retract freely to kill enemies from miles away. Finally, you eyed a heaven's weight divine stone priced at 10,000 contribution points. A single piece adds 1,000 tons of weight and comes with a counter-shock force. You didn't hesitate to buy 10 at once. Now, the silver butterfly armor's weight will reach the 10,000-ton level. One smash from the spear, forget behemoths, even a mountain range would collapse. During your break at home, you looked up a lot of information regarding plane tokens, but found nothing. Left with no choice, you contacted the newly promoted throne, Yang Xiao. What? A token for the unextinguished abyss? On the other end of the phone, Yang Xiao almost choked. Is that wolf of yours suicidal? That's a supreme plane, and it's currently the only supreme plane without a master. Yang Xiao gave you a breakdown of the brutal rules of plane tokens. It's a fight to the death whenever token holders meet. The victor claims the other's authority and plane rewards, while the loser is erased. If it were a low-level plane, it wouldn't be so bad since the detection range is small. But for a supreme plane like the Abyss, once the battle for dominion starts, those 10,000-meter-tall, terrifying entities will cross the heavens to hunt down all token holders. Even Heavenly King-level powerhouses would have to hide. Your scalp tingled listening to this. It seems you can only lay low and grind for now. After all, high risks,